Them chop our money clean mouth. Where did the time and conscience go? Where the money go? Let's go. Them tell us say, bring your money, make it grow. Forex trading, sweet returns, not the way to go. From Dubai to Niger, them carry am come, but not pure format. Them shop and run. See Daniel, see Lily, see Bonaventure. Them don't cash out, them buy mansion. Oh Lord, them chop commission. While the people, they cry frustration. Scandemic, Omega Pro, Ahala. Scandemic, money vanish like abracadabra. Scandemic, EFCC go find them tire. Scandemic, but the leaders don't disappear. Them say investment, but my people, make una shine your eye, oh. This one a big yawa. Them chop our money clean mouth. Where did the time and conscience go? Where the money go? Let's go. Them tell us say, bring your money, make it grow. Forex trading, sweet returns, not the way to go. From Dubai to Niger, them carry am come, but not pure format. Them shop and run. See Daniel, see Lily, see Bonaventure. Them don't cash out, them buy mansion. Oh Lord, them chop commission. While the people, they cry frustration. Scandemic, Omega Pro, Ahala. Scandemic, money vanish like abracadabra. Scandemic, EFCC go find them tire. Scandemic, but the leaders don't disappear. Them say investment, but
2 weeks earlier in Lagos, Paul Nemesis, an unrelenting journalist, is seated at his cluttered workspace in his dimly lit room, scanning through his laptop for answers. He had written a piece weeks ago for an independent online platform, Omegamax, investment giant or house of cards. The world barely noticed his story. He just got drowned out by celebrity gossip and political scandals. Now he knew he had to dig deeper.
I will get to the bottom of all these.
The knock at his door was sharp, cutting through the late-night stillness. Paul froze, his hand instinctively reaching for the desk drawer. He wasn't expecting company. He tried to steady his voice despite the spike of adrenaline.
Who's there?
It's me, okay?
Paul relaxed slightly. OK was a trusted informant, but OK rarely came without a reason.
You're being followed?
Oh, no!
You need to see this, OK said.
What is this?
Proof of everything.
This is proof of the Ponzi scheme, the shell companies, the offshore accounts. These guys are deeper than you think. They're not just robbing people. They're laundering money on a global scale.
Where did you get this?
A contact in Dubai. But listen, Paul, this is dangerous. These people have connections. Politicians, law enforcement, even thugs on the streets. If they find out you have this, you're as good as dead.
Story of my life. I recognize some of these names. Pastor Ezekiel. Even this retired general.
These are the agents. They're paid weekly in commissions.
This isn't just a scam. It's a machine. And these guys, they're the ones keeping it running.
And when it crashes, they'll walk away with millions while everyone else burns. Be careful, Paul. Remember Chijioke, the journalist? He started digging into Omegamax last year. His body was dumped in a ditch.
If we don't expose this, who will?
Come in.
Sir, the auditors have arrived. They are in the conference room.
Good. Let them wait. I'll join them shortly.
No care, private jet, you toast champagne. But come on, they buy first class plane. See as you build, see as you hide. The Wahala fi book return flight. Even for winter, heat don't catch. No escape, you will reach your hatch.
Who is it?
Your name is on a list. They're digging into Omegamax, bona fide. I suggest you start making arrangements.
See them out, we're sweet like honey. Tell us, say, make we dog.
I need more proof, more angles. Where do I start?
People they cry, no testimony. From Dubai to
Greed built this empire, and I'm going to tear it down.
Omega Pro Wahala. We no go green. Omega Pro Wahala. Look the face. Omega Pro Wahala. My people, make una shine your eye, yo. This one a big yawa. Them chop our money clean mouth. Where did the time and conscience go? Where the money go? Let's go. Them tell us, say, bring your money, make it grow.
We are finished.
Stop saying that.
Face reality, Tommy. Gold vest is gone. People are asking for their money back. Do you have money to give them? This is our third failed scheme. First, there had been Global Wealth Network, a cryptocurrency trading platform that had collapsed under allegations of fraud. Then Dreamforex, a supposed high-frequency trading service, had folded after regulators started sniffing around. And now, Gold Vest International had gone the same way, collapsing under the weight of its own lies.
We keep joining other people's schemes. We do all the work, bring in all the recruits, and then the white guys run off with the money.
And what's your brilliant idea? Start our own.
No. We find a scheme where we're in on the ground floor. A real one. Something big enough to make us untouchable.
You think that exists?
It has to. And when we find it, we're not just going to be promoters. We'll be the gatekeepers. Nigerians will have to go through us to get in.
Where the money did, address I say they have 15. Till I was in the market side, I was say just wait. I did not japper.
Danny and Tommy had scraped together their last savings for plane tickets to Dubai, hoping to network with the right people at the annual MLM Wealth Summit.
Now scripted right, cozy way, but he dressing white. Modern lies, ghetto. FTC, they hold the cash. Them hot websites when they try.
That's Andreas Sakakas.
Who?
The guy who started GlobalX. It's one of the biggest MLM schemes in Europe. People worship this guy, eh?
You think he'll talk to us?
He doesn't have a choice.
Where the money, no reply.
What brings you to Dubai?
Network marketers from Nigeria. We've built teams of thousands, but let's just say we've been unlucky in the past. We're looking for a real opportunity.
Nigeria, a growing market, young, ambitious, hungry for wealth, am I right?
Yes, yes.
Tell me, gentlemen, what do you know about forex trading?
Over the next hour, Andreas, Mike, and Tommy laid out the foundation of Omegamax. It was, they claimed, a revolutionary forex trading platform that offered daily compounded returns and unlimited earning potential through referrals.
It's not just a platform, it's a movement. We're giving people the tools to achieve financial freedom.
And what happens when people start asking questions? You know, Nigerians don't trust forex schemes. They'll need more than promises.
Exactly. That's where you come in. You're the face of Omegamax in Nigeria. You build the trust, you spread the message, and you bring the people to us. And in return, you get a percentage of every dollar that flows in.
That means we could be the gatekeepers we had always dreamed of. Wow!
But Nigerians are smart. They'll want to know who's behind the platform. They'll want proof.
And they'll get it. We'll give you promotional videos, testimonials from satisfied investors, even endorsements from international celebrities. Whatever it takes to convince them.
And us, how do we know this is legit?
You don't need to. You just need to know that this is your opportunity to be part of something bigger, something that will change your lives forever.
What do you think, Tommy?
You don't need to. You just need to know that this is your opportunity to be part of something bigger, something that will change your lives forever.
I think this is it. This is our chance to be more than just middlemen. To be at the top of the pyramid for once.
And if it crashes?
Then we walk away with enough money to start over again. But if it works, we'll be untouchable.
Alright, let's do it. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. For too long, Nigerians have been left out of the global wealth game, but not anymore. Omegamax is here to change everything.
Good work, gentlemen. Let the games begin.
In the small packed banquet hall in Lagos, the banner read, "Unlock your financial freedom with Omegamax." Bona Vigbokwenu paced confidently.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to live paycheck to paycheck for the rest of your lives?
The small banquet hall was packed with eager faces.
Or do you want to step into the abundance that is waiting for you? I was once like you, struggling, dreaming, wondering when my breakthrough would come. And then I found Omegamax. Today I'm earning more in a week than I used to make in a year. What I'm offering you is not just wealth, it's freedom. Join my team and together we'll change your lives forever.
Dozens of people signed up. In his private office, Bonav gave himself a silent toast as his phone buzzed with notifications. New investors, new commissions, new accolades.
You've outdone yourself, Bonavi. Yes.
Very soon the smirk faded as his gaze landed on a folder labeled Expansion Plans. Inside were drafts for his next big move, launching a microfinance bank. With Omegamax's collapse in view, Bonavi had planned to be untouchable, his wealth buried in legitimate assets. The bank would be his shield, a fortress of respectability, his name associated with philanthropy and community building. Paul Nemesis sat scrolling through a database of corporate filings and property records on his laptop in a dimly lit cafe. Oki had delivered again. The documents were a gold mine, revealing how Bonav had funneled Omegamax commissions into the founding of Igbokwenu Microfinance Bank. From there, the money had been used to purchase prime real estate and shares in a multinational firm. Paul sampled titles for his next article. Bonav Igbokwenu, the scammer turned banker, or maybe how Omegamax money built a financial empire. With Bonav Igbokwenu Trust, listed as a shareholder in multiple assets in the records, Paul knew that if he could link these holdings back to Omegamax funds, it would blow the case wide open. Bonavy's office buzzed with activity. The auditors had left. Bonavy wasn't fooled by their thin, professional smiles. He knew they were circling, smelling blood in the water.
Yes?
Sir, there's a journalist asking questions about the bank.
Who?
A Paul nemesis. He's been reaching out to former employees and clients.
Bonavy's mind raced quickly. The name Paul Nemesis was familiar, a troublemaker, known for digging into powerful people's secrets. This wasn't a random inquiry. It was an attack.
Arrange a meeting with him. Let's see what he wants.
Paul's investigation took him to the outskirts of Lagos, to a modest apartment complex where one of Bonavy's former employees had agreed to meet. Adiola was hesitant, her eyes darting nervously as she spoke.
I worked in his accounts department. At first, everything seemed normal, but then I started noticing strange transfers. Large sums disappearing from one account and reappearing in another, always under different names.
Do you have proof?
I copied some files before I left, but if they find out I gave this to you...
They won't. You're helping expose the truth. That's what matters.
Back in his apartment, Paul pored over the flash drive's contents. It was a smoking gun. Transactions linking Omegamax payouts to the bank's initial funding. He knew Bonavy would try to spin the story, but this evidence was irrefutable. Soon Paul's phone buzzed. A text message appeared on the screen. Meet me, tomorrow 10 a.m., Igbokwenu Microfinance HQ. No sender name, but Paul knew who it was. He stared at the message, a mix of excitement and trepidation. He has waited long for this moment. But if Bonavy thought this meeting would intimidate him, he was wrong. Paul knew that the game was on. Across town, Bonavy gazed out the window of his office, his reflection blending with the city lights. He was a man on the brink. In the corner of the room, his safe stood open, stacks of cash and documents spilling out. He reached for a phone, dialing a number he had memorized.
It is me. We might need to accelerate the exit plan.
My people, make una shine your eye, oh. This one a big yawa. Them chop our money clean mouth. Where did the time and conscience go? Where the money go? Let's go.
The meeting room of the five-star hotel buzzed with excitement. The Omegamax branding was everywhere. Banners, screens, even the pens. Dani Onojaja stood at the head of the long conference table, flanked by Tommy Orunabera and Bonav Igbokwenu. Around the table sat a select group of individuals, all hand-picked for their influence and charisma.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to discuss another scam. This is the real deal. Omegamax is backed by some of the sharpest minds in Dubai and Europe. We're at the forefront of a financial revolution.
And the best part, we're not just promoters, we're partners. This is our chance to build generational wealth and bring thousands of Nigerians along for the...
We all know the Nigerian market is skeptical. They've been burned before by us, by others. That's why this time we do it differently.
The execution of the conspiracy was flashed with glamour and glitz.
We go big, we bring the flash, the glitz, the white faces. Nigerians love anything that looks international.
Exactly. And that's why we've brought you here. Each of you has a network, a community, influence. Together we can make Omegamax a household name.
The room turned to Ufoma Nwokobia, a former gospel singer who had transformed herself into a motivational speaker. She was known for her fiery sermons, blending faith with financial advice, and had built a massive following in Christian circles.
This could be perfect for my audience. People trust me because I show them how faith can lead to financial success. If I say Omegamax is a blessing, they'll believe me. But I'll need solid proof returns they can see immediately.
Consider it done. We'll make sure your first recruits get their payouts quickly. Nothing builds trust like results.
Victor Purple, a flamboyant socialite known for his flashy cars and Instagram-worthy lifestyle, leaned back in his chair.
This is child's play. Nigerians eat up success stories. I'll flood my social media with testimonials, screenshots of payouts, the works. Once people see me living the life, they'll beg to join.
I can handle the professionals, doctors, lawyers, engineers. They're tired of working themselves to death for peanuts. I'll position Omegamax as their escape route.
Brilliant.
Count me in. I'll use my platform to reach the youth. If they see me investing in Omegamax, they'll think it's cool, legit, and trust me, nobody loves to show off like young Nigerians.
The first Omegamax conference in Nigeria was a spectacle, held at a prestigious venue in Lagos. It featured everything from live music to motivational speeches to choreographed dance routines. Danny and Tommy took the stage like rock stars, dressed in tailored suits and flanked by Andreas Zakakis and Dilawar Singh, who flew in from Dubai for the event.
This is the future of wealth creation, and Nigeria is leading the way.
You don't have to dream of financial freedom anymore. Omegamax is making it a reality. And we're just...
The other agents, Ufoma, Victor, Chinwe, and Akin, worked the crowd, mingling with attendees and collecting sign-ups. By the end of the night, hundreds had invested and the momentum was unstoppable. Over the next year, Omegamax grew at an unprecedented rate in Nigeria. Danny and Tommy led the charge. Bona Igbokwenu funneled commissions into his microfinance bank, which Ufoma hosted faith-based seminars, weaving scriptures into her sales pitch. Victor flaunted his wealth on social media. His Akin featured Omegamax in Nollywood movies, subtly promoting it as the secret to his character's success. Behind the scenes, Andreas and Dilawar provided resources, from glossy promotional materials to fake trading results. But as the network expanded, so did the pressure. Investors began asking
questions. Where are the trading records? Why do withdrawals take so long? What happens if the system crashes?
The agents deflected and stalled, using charm and promises to placate the doubters. But privately, they grew nervous.
This can't last forever.
It doesn't need to. We just need to cash out before the ship sinks.
Danny said nothing, his mind racing. In the penthouse suite of the Burj Khalifa, Andreas Zakakis poured himself a glass of champagne. Seated across the marble table were Mike Simpson and Dilawar Singh.
Nigeria is bringing in more revenue than we expected.
But it's also drawing attention. If it collapses, the fallout will be massive.
That's not our problem. The Nigerians wanted to be gatekeepers. Let them deal with the gates when they fall.
Still, we've got time. The commissions are flowing, and these guys are hungry for more. We can milk this market dry if we keep them motivated.
You're right. Before we let them carry the can, we should push them to maximize their efforts. Make them believe they're on the brink of something extraordinary. More money, more recruits, more hype.
How do you propose we do that? They're already working hard.
We dangle the carrot. We bring the top earners to Dubai. Give them the royal treatment. Private jets, luxury hotels, parties. Let them rub shoulders with us. Take selfies with their white mentors. Nigerians love that.
And things went as they planned.
And when they go back catching on, they'll sell the dream even harder. Everyone will want to be part of it. We can even throw in a few exotic vacations. Mauritius, Maldives, Bali. Make them feel like kings and queens.
And if it still crashes? Then they carry the can, like I said,
By the time the system collapses, they'll be too busy running from their own people to come after us.
The room fell silent for a moment.
And if they grow suspicious?
They won't. Greed blinds even the smartest people. As long as the money flows, they'll believe anything we tell them.
All right. Let's make it happen. Call it an incentive program. The more they bring in, the bigger the rewards.
To the Nigerian dream.
Oh yeah!
Coming up next, the carrot and the crown.
The Nigerian agents stepped off the private jet onto the shimmering tarmac of Dubai International Airport.
Gentlemen, welcome to Dubai. Your cars are ready.
When they reached the Burj Al Arab, the agents were ushered into sprawling suites with panoramic views of the Arabian Gulf. On the coffee tables in each room sat personalized welcome gifts for the agents. Danny leaned back on the couch in his suite, holding up his Rolex to the light.
Now this is what I call recognition.
That evening, the agents gathered in the hotel's grand ballroom. White-gloved servers circulated with trays of champagne and hors d'oeuvres.
To our Nigerian partners, you are the heart of Omegamax success. Tonight, we celebrate you. Tonight, we have surprises in store because we believe in rewarding excellence.
The lights turned to Danny, Tommy, and Bona V, as their names were called. The three men exchanged grins. A moment later, two stunning models in glittering gowns wheeled out a glass box filled with cash.
For our top earners this month, we're giving out $100,000 in cash prizes. Right here, right now.
Danny, Tommy, and Bona V swaggered to the stage to claim their prizes. As the models opened the glass box, a hidden fan sent bills flying into the air, raining cash onto the stage. The crowd erupted into cheers as Danny and Bona V grabbed handfuls, laughing and tossing the money in the air.
Unbelievable.
They land for Dubai, them start today. Omega Group, they go change your name. Suit and tie.
Later that night, the agents were escorted to a private villa overlooking the city skyline. The party there was exclusive and opulent, models flown in from Europe, Asia, and South America. They mingled with the Nigerian agents, their laughter ringing through the night.
Brother, if this is heaven, I don't ever want to leave.
This is what success looks like, Victor, and we've only just begun.
As the night wore on, Andreas and Mike took the stage again.
We've seen your dedication, and we want to reward the very best. Tonight, we're announcing a special incentive for the top 3 agents in the Nigerian network. The top 3 will receive brand new luxury cars, fully paid, no strings attached. I'm talking about Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Bentleys, cars that turn heads and open doors.
A Lambo would look good in my driveway, don't you think?
Dream bigger, go for the Ferrari.
They've got us eating out of their hands, don't they?
Does it matter? The money's real, the lifestyle's real. All we have to do is keep the machine running.
And when it crashes?
We'll worry about that later. For now, we ride this wave to the top.
In another suite, Andreas, Mike, and Dilawar met privately to review the night's success.
Good, the incentives will push them harder. If they double their efforts, we can extract another $50 million from Nigeria before the cracks start showing.
And when the system collapses,
By then, we'll be long gone. Let them enjoy their Ferraris while they can.
Danny Onojaja stood at the front of a packed hall, his voice booming over the crowd.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have just returned from Dubai where I saw the future. I stood with the masterminds of this movement. I walked in their vision, and I tell you this, Omegamax is not just an opportunity, it is a revolution.
In the front row, Victor Purple held up his phone, live streaming the event to his thousands of followers. The comments poured in. Where do I sign up? I need this. Victor, you're living the dream. Tommy Orunibere took the microphone next.
You've seen the photos. You've seen the rewards. Let me tell you what you haven't seen. The limitless potential of this opportunity. Do you know who the top earners in this country will be? People sitting in this very room.
Bonaventure Igbokwenyu leaned against the wall at the back, watching the crowd with a calculating smile.
It's like taking candy from children.
As long as they believe, the money will keep flowing.
Danny Onojaja targeted influential figures, business moguls, politicians, and church leaders, offering them exclusive deals and guarantees.
Pastor, this is a blessing from God with just $100,000. You can multiply your church's wealth and bless your congregation tenfold. This is real. I've seen it with my own eyes. Don't let your congregation miss out.
Victor Purple ramped up his social media presence, posting daily updates about his Omegamax journey. His inbox flooded with messages from followers eager to join. Victor's response was always the same. Sign up today, and your life will never be the same. Bonaventure launched a campaign offering investment coaching sessions, during which he subtly pushed Omegamax as the ultimate wealth-building tool.
I'm not just talking about changing your financial situation. I'm talking about securing your legacy.
Ufoma hosted seminars. Her sessions were a blend of scripture and sales pitch, drawing crowds of devout Christians.
God wants you to be the head and not the tail. Omegamax is his way of lifting you to the top. Don't miss this opportunity to claim your blessings.
In Ibadan, Chinwe Ezeoke was confronted during a recruitment seminar.
I haven't been able to withdraw my money. It's been weeks.
The system is upgrading, my dear. Be patient, and your payout will come. Why not refer a few friends? That's the fastest way to increase your return.
In Lagos, Akin Alade confronted Victor Purple after seeing a social media post boasting of Victor's new recruits.
You're poaching from my network.
Your network? This is a free market, Akin. If they want to join through me, that's their choice.
During a late-night Zoom call with Andreas and Mike, the Nigerian agents received another bombshell announcement.
We're introducing a new incentive program. Top 10 recruiters this quarter will receive all expenses paid vacations to buy. And that's not all. We're also increasing commission rates for top earners. Bring in more recruits, and you'll see bigger payouts.
They're giving us the tools. Now it's up to us to use them.
In Abuja, a pastor who had invested church funds began receiving threats from angry congregants demanding answers. In Lagos, rumors swirled about delayed payouts and frozen accounts. Danny, Tommy, and Bona V met in private to discuss the growing concerns.
We need to double down, reassure the network, keep the momentum going.
Or we could start preparing an exit strategy.
Let's keep pushing. There's still more to gain.
In Dubai, Andreas watched the Nigerian operation with satisfaction.
They're hungrier than ever.
Let's see how far we can push them before the cracks start showing.
To ambition, and to knowing when to walk away.
Victor Purple sat on the terrace of a luxury beachfront villa, sipping a martini as the sun dipped below the horizon.
We've been carrying this scheme in Nigeria. And for what? To see Danny and Tommy take all the glory and the commissions.
They're treating us like foot soldiers. Meanwhile, they're living large in Abuja and Lagos.
Exactly why I invited you here. The Republic of Benin is ripe for the taking. No oversight, no pressure from the Nigerian bosses. We can run things our way and keep every cent we make.
What about Omegamax in Dubai? They'll notice. If we stop reporting to Danny and Tommy...
Let them. By the time they realize what's happening, we'll have made enough to disappear.
How do we recruit? Nigeria is already saturated.
We go after the whales he billionaires. And we use tools they can't resist.
You're an inspiration. I've heard so much about your success. But even the greatest men deserve to relax and multiply their wealth without stress.
What's your angle?
Titi pulled out her phone, showing him photos of luxury cars, yachts, and exotic vacations. It's called Omegamax. By the end of the night, the billionaire had agreed to invest $500,000 and take Titi on a weekend trip.
They're siphoning recruits and funds. If we don't act fast, they'll undermine everything we've built.
Let them have Benin. We'll focus on bigger fish.
Bigger than billionaires?
Politicians, governors, ministers, Nigeria's real power players. They've got the kind of money that can take us to the next level.
How do we get them?
We'll use the same tactics as Victor, but on a grander scale. Lavish parties, the finest drinks, and women. Who can make a man forget his wife, his morals, and his common sense?
Now you're talking.
The Omegamax party was held at an exclusive mansion in Maitama, Abuja's wealthiest district.
Omegamax is very amazing, lucrative.
I hope you are enjoying yourself. Gentlemen, you are the architects of Nigeria's future. Omegamax is your tool for wealth creation, discreet, efficient, and life-changing.
Tommy stepped forward, holding up a tablet, wowing the guests. Tommy and Danny's plans had worked very well.
This is how we take Omegamax to the top.
Meanwhile, in Cotonou, Victor and Chinwe celebrated another victory. Their team had recruited 3 more billionaires.
We are outperforming the Abuja team. They're too focused on politics.
Let them have their parties. By the time they realize what's happening, we'll own this game.
We're hitting the real money.
In Dubai, Andreas Sakakas and Mike Simmons reviewed reports from both factions.
They're splitting the market. This could destabilize the whole operation.
Or it could double our profits. Let them compete. The more aggressive they get, the more money flows to us.
And when the collapse comes?
We'll be far away, watching them tear each other apart.
Them say investment, but it be Ponzi. Every week, them they flex Bugatti. All the diamonds, them they shine for Grammy.
In a private meeting room, Ufoman Wokobia addressed a group of Omegamax agents.
This is how we win. Nigerians trust their pastors more than they trust their politicians, their banks, or even their families. If we control the pulpit, we control the people.
The pastors are the key, but how do we get them to sell Omegamax?
Simple. We appeal to their egos, their greed, and their followers' faith.
Break it down for us.
Prophecies, prosperity, and pressure.
In a packed church in Abuja, Pastor Ezekiel.
Thus saith the Lord, a season of financial harvest is upon us, but only those who step forward in faith will receive it. This opportunity was revealed to me in a dream. God showed me Omegamax as the vehicle to deliver his people from the bondage of poverty. Obey his word and invest today.
The congregation erupted into cheers and applause, many rushing to the front to sign up on the spot. In the audience, Ufoma watched with satisfaction. After the service, she handed Pastor Ezekiel an envelope filled with cash.
You did well. Expect your commission by next week.
The Bible says, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper, and be in health even as thy soul prospereth. My brothers and sisters, prosperity is your divine right. Omegamax is the tool God has provided for you to walk into your blessings. Start with as little as 50,000 naira and watch it grow into millions. But don't delay. Delayed obedience is disobedience.
The sign-ups are pouring in. This is changing lives.
And yours too. Keep pushing the message, Reverend. The more they invest, the more you're blessed.
Why do you think the devil wants you poor? Because when you're poor, you can't serve God fully. You can't build his kingdom. But today he has given us a way out. Omegamax. God is testing your faith. If you don't take this opportunity, you're letting the devil win. Don't let Satan steal your blessings.
This is my entire savings. Are you sure this is what God wants me to do?
Daughter, obedience always brings reward. Trust in him and you'll see miracles.
From the wealthy Christians to the smaller churches with desperate congregation, and even unto celebrity endorsement, Christian influencers were brought into the fold, using their platforms to promote Omegamax as a God-given opportunity.
Where's our money? You said Omegamax was God's plan, but we can't even withdraw our investments.
The system is being upgraded. You must remain patient and faithful.
Meanwhile, in Lagos, Reverend Joshua Adekunle had received an anonymous email with a link to an article, The Truth About Omegamax. His hands trembled as he read. Ufoma called moments later.
Reverend, we need you to host another seminar next week.
Is this a scam?
Watch your words, Reverend. Do your job, A, and you'll be fine. God doesn't bless doubters.
This is our most effective strategy yet. The pastors are doing all the work for us.
And they're keeping the people pacified. As long as they believe this is divine, they won't question it.
Religious faith. The ultimate tool for manipulation.
If they believe in God, they'll believe in anything.
Like abracadabra, scandemic. EFCC go find them tire, scandemic. But the leaders don't disappear. Them say,
This is everything we have, Mary. Remember the children's school fees and our rent.
Don't you see, Joseph? This is our chance to get out of this cycle. Omegamax is changing lives. Now it's our turn.
What if it's another scam? We've been burned before.
This is different, my upline. Sister Jane just bought a new car. She says she's earning over 1 million naira a month. This is real.
All right, but if this goes wrong?
It won't. I'll make sure it doesn't.
Peter Agbaje stood in the middle of a crowded market, handing out flyers for his latest seminar. Omegamax is your ticket to financial freedom. Don't miss this chance to change your life. Auntie Bose, imagine making enough money to buy your own shop instead of working here every day. Omegamax can do that for you.
How much does it cost?
You can start with just 10,000 naira and grow it into millions. I'll help you every step of the way.
Mary took her first payout 2 weeks after investing. Though it was small, it was enough to convince her that Omegamax worked. She invited her siblings, her cousins, and even her church friends to join.
I'm not just doing this for me, this is for all of us. We can finally take care of Mama and send the kids to better school.
I had recruited dozens of people in the past month, but hadn't seen the kind of returns I'm expecting. Victor Purple had reassured me that patience was key, but patience is not paying my bills. I will triple this loan I collected from the moneylender in no time. I just needed a little more faith.
The mid-level agents worked tirelessly, hosting seminars in community centers, schools, and even their homes.
My brothers and sisters, I know what it's like to struggle, but Omegamax has given me hope. This is your chance to leave poverty behind. Don't let fear hold you back.
By the end of the evening, people had signed up. In Ibadan, Peter rented a hall for a larger seminar, borrowing more money to make it look professional.
This is not just an investment, it's a movement, and you can be part of it.
2 months later, Mary began to notice delays in her payouts. Her upline, Sister Jane, assured her it was a temporary glitch.
Be patient, Mary. The system is upgrading. You'll get your money soon.
Mary, I haven't gotten my payout and I need it for my rent.
I will handle it.
Peter's recruits were also demanding answers.
When will we get our returns?
People are threatening me. What am I supposed to tell them?
Stick to the script, Peter. Patience is key.
Mary's recruits had stopped answering her calls, and Joseph had moved out after another heated argument. Tears begins to stream down her face as she realized the truth. She had ruined not just herself, but everyone she loved.
The dream I chased so fervently had turned into a nightmare.
In Abuja, Danny Onojaja reviewed recruitment reports from the mid-level agents.
These people are working so tirelessly. They work both day and night.
That's the point. The more desperate they are, the harder they work. And when it all collapses, they'll be the ones left holding the bag.
Episode 10. The Fall of the Skeptics. Barrister Olaolu Bamiwole adjusted his cufflinks as he entered the private lounge of a luxury hotel. He was met by 2 impeccably dressed women, their smiles warm but calculated.
Barrister Bamiwole, it's an honor to meet you. I'm Clara, and this is my colleague, Fola. We've heard so much about your success.
What's this about?
An opportunity. Omegamax is changing lives around the world. We're offering returns of up to 300% annually. It's a system designed to make your money work for you.
300%? That's aggressive. Almost too good to be true.
We understand your hesitation, Barrister. Unfortunately, there are people out there spreading lies about Omegamax, jealous competitors who can't match what we offer. Here's what you should know. Omegamax has been operating for over 3 years. Most Ponzi schemes collapse within 2. We're built on solid Forex trading principles, not empty promises.
Olaolu pulled out his phone, his fingers moving rapidly as he Googled Omegamax scam. A list of articles appeared, the headlines bold. Omegamax, the next big Ponzi? Investors warned about dubious Forex scheme.
Here's what you should know. Omegamax has been operating for over 3 years. Most Ponzi schemes collapse within 2. We're built on solid Forex trading principles.
This doesn't exactly inspire confidence.
You're a man of influence, sir. Do you think we'd risk our reputation by bringing a Ponzi?
Olaolu leaned back, his doubts gnawing at him. But as Clara leaned closer, her voice dropping to a soothing tone. He felt a pang of temptation.
Barrister, this is your chance to build a legacy. Think of what you could do with the profits. Not just for yourself, but for your family, your firm.
An hour later, Olaolu left the lounge, having transferred $500,000 into Omegamax. As he walked to his car, he muttered under his breath,
If this goes south, I only have myself to blame.
Deacon Cosmas Chichioke, a towering figure in the Nigerian automobile industry, sat in his lavish office, staring at the Omegamax brochure on his desk. Across from him sat two sharply dressed agents, Tommy Orunibere and Ufoma Nuolisa.
Deacon, we know how connected you are. Do you think we dare bring anything less than legitimate?
Forex trading. I've heard stories. One wrong move and it's all gone.
And let's be honest, Deacon. Even if you put $10 million in, that's a fraction of what you're worth. A calculated risk for exponential reward.
If this turns out to be nonsense, I'll personally ensure you regret it.
Deacon, you'll be thanking us soon.
In a military barracks conference room, Captain Abubakar and Major Adebayo listened as an Omegamax agent delivered a polished presentation. The agent's voice was steady, but sweat beaded on his forehead.
You're telling us that if we invest $1 million each, we'll get back $3 million in a year?
Yes, sir.
And what happens if this is a scam?
Sir, I assure you, this is no scam. Omegamax is backed by...
Let me be clear. If my money disappears, so will you. Permanently.
Despite their threats, both officers invested substantial sums, driven by the tantalizing promise of effortless wealth. At an Omegamax strategy meeting in Abuja, Danny Onojaja reviewed the week's recruitment reports with Tommy and Ufoma.
We're hitting the big leagues now. Lawyers, business moguls, even the military, they're all in.
Of course they are. We've made Omegamax impossible to resist. It doesn't matter how smart or powerful they are. Greed is the great equalizer.
We're entering the big leagues now. Lawyers, business moguls, even the military, they're all in.
Coming up next, Living the Dream.
Danny Onojaja enjoys his new sleek ride along the Lagos bustling city street. He smoothly drives towards the upscale restaurant where the Omegamax investors await him. Danny Onojaja stepped out of his brand new black Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, the sunlight glinting off its polished surface. The crowd outside the upscale restaurant murmured in admiration as the SUV's door swung shut.
Bros, this ride is mad. You've outdone yourself this time. When you're on top, you have to look the part. Besides, the commission's paid for it.
If Daniel's rolling in a G-Wagon, then we all need one. Can't have the head of Omegamax Nigeria outshining the rest of us.
I'm already ahead of you, gentlemen. Mine arrives next week. Metallic silver, of course.
Within a month, all four agents had their own G-Wagons, parking them side by side at meetings like a fleet of luxury war machines. In Toronto, Canada, in a sleek downtown office,
This one,
Bonaventure
close to the
sat
schools and
across from a
discreet
real
enough.
estate agent.
Perfect for my family when the time comes.
Excellent choice, Mr. Igbokwenu. Shall we start the paperwork?
As Bona signed the documents, he felt a pang of satisfaction. He wasn't blind to the risks of Omegamax, and he'd be damned if he didn't have a safe haven ready when it all came crashing down.
Back in Nigeria, Danny and Ufoma followed suit, purchasing homes in Canada and transferring millions into offshore accounts. The unspoken rule among them was simple: plan your escape before the walls close in. Danny's new mansion on the outskirts of Abuja was a testament to his success, or his ego. The sprawling estate featured marble floors, a cinema room, and a swimming pool shaped like the Omegamax logo.
Every great leader deserves a palace.
Ufoma's home in Lagos rivaled Daniel's, with its chandeliers imported from Italy and custom furniture upholstered in gold silk. She hosted exclusive prayer meetings in her private chapel, where she subtly pitched Omegamax to her most loyal followers. Bona Igbokwenu's mansion in Lekki was designed for security as much as luxury. It featured hidden safes, panic rooms, and high walls. "You can never be too careful," he told his guests during the housewarming party. The housewarming party for Tommy's newly completed mansion was the talk of Lagos's elites. The estate was lit up like a carnival, with glowing fountains lining the driveway, and a red carpet leading to the entrance. Guests arrived in a parade of luxury cars, Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, and of course G-Wagons. The air buzzed with excitement as waiters in crisp uniforms served champagne and canapes. Inside, the house was a spectacle. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead, and a live band played Afrobeat tunes by the infinity pool. Guests mingled in the grand hall, admiring the marble staircase and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Midway through the evening, Tommy took the stage to address his guests.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight isn't just about celebrating this house. It's about celebrating success. The kind of success that changes lives.
Omegamax made this possible, and I'm here to tell you that it's just the beginning.
The crowd erupted into applause, some raising their glasses in agreement, while others whispered about how they could get involved. And now to the dance floor. The blasting fireworks. African choreographers grace the occasion. Crowds cheer to the rhythm and beats.
You're setting the bar high, my friend. We'll all have to outdo you next time.
Good. Let's see how far we can take this.
The Omegamax agents' lavish lifestyles were impossible to ignore. Social media was flooded with photos of their cars, homes, and luxurious vacations. While some followers were inspired, others began to grow suspicious. "Where is all this money coming from?" one Twitter user posted. "How are they living like this while some people are still waiting for payouts?"
Let them talk. The more people see us living like this, the more they'll want to join. Greed is contagious.
Tommy nodded.
This kind of visibility can be dangerous. It makes us targets.
Relax. By the time anyone catches on, we'll be long gone.
Coming up next, taking Omegamax to the city of pounds.
The core team of Omegamax Nigeria gathered in a luxurious conference room in Abuja.
Our success in Nigeria is just the beginning. There's a world out there, and it's full of Nigerians who are just as hungry for opportunity as the ones here. We need to take Omegamax global.
The UK is important. Nigerians in London have a close community and strong connections, which could help us grow in Europe.
Canada too. It's full of families sending money back home. If we can sell Omegamax as a way to multiply their wealth, we'll clean up.
We'll divide and conquer. Bonavi, you take the UK. Ufoma, Canada is yours. Tommy and I will work on the US. Let's make it happen.
Bonavi arrived in London with a plan to target the Nigerian community's most influential leaders and leverage their networks. He rented an opulent penthouse in Canary Wharf that exuded success and wealth, preparing to handpick his agents. Bonavi and two agents hosted a private Mayfair dinner to introduce Omegamax to community leaders, entrepreneurs, and pastors.
Ladies and gentlemen, Omegamax is more than an investment platform. It's a movement. It's about taking control of your financial future and building generational wealth.
With daily compounded returns, Omegamax ensures your money grows safely and consistently.
I joined 6 months ago, and I've already earned enough to buy a house in Kensington. This is the opportunity of a lifetime.
By the end of the night, several guests had pledged six-figure investments. Gloria Adeyemi became the linchpin for Omegamax.
God has blessed me beyond measure, and He can do the same for you. Omegamax is not just an investment, it's a tool for divine multiplication.
This is the opportunity of a lifetime.
My pension isn't much, but I want to sow this seed.
The Lord will bless your faith.
Prince Odi hosted exclusive Soho and Chelsea events for affluent Nigerians in finance, tech, and real estate.
Tunde, you're a numbers man. You can see the potential here. Triple-digit returns don't lie.
300% returns? Sounds too good to be true.
Look, you're a smart guy. Start small. See how it goes. You've got nothing to lose.
Within a week, Tunde invested £250,000. Under Bonavi's leadership, Omegamax spread like wildfire through London's Nigerian community. He secured endorsements from prominent business and religious figures.
My brethren, Omegamax is God's financial plan for His people. Make sure you don't miss out.
Kemi and Gloria filled Instagram and Facebook with images of luxurious lifestyles to attract impressionable followers. Prince Odi hosted lavish parties, fostering exclusivity and urgency among potential investors. By quarter's end, Omegamax UK secured over £20 million in new investments. At a small gathering in Brixton, a tech entrepreneur named Femi Onabanjo voiced his concerns about Omegamax.
I've done my research. There are red flags, no verifiable trading activity, no transparency about where the money is going.
Femi, I understand your skepticism, but this isn't about blind trust, it's about results. If you'd invested 6 months ago, you'd already have doubled your money.
Femi hesitated, but ultimately relented, transferring £50,000 into the scheme. At a private meeting with his team, Bonavi reviewed the latest recruitment figures.
We're growing faster than I anticipated.
That's good. But remember, this is a ticking time bomb. When it goes off, we need to be ready to disappear.
Don't worry. I've already got a house in the Bahamas waiting for me.
What about the people who've invested? They trust us.
Trust won't matter when this collapses. Just focus on bringing in more money. The more we take now, the safer we'll be later.
The stakes are high. The innocent fall while the ruthless fly. When the curtains drop, who pay the cost?
Omega Pro Ahala. Scamdemic. Money vanish like abracadabra. Scamdemic. EFCC go find them tire. Scamdemic. But the leaders don't disappear. Them say investment, but he be Ponzi. Every week, them they flex Bugatti. All the diamonds, them they shine for Grammy. While we they hustle, them they pop champagne. We they work, we they sweat. Them they scam, them they flex. Where the money? My people, make una shine your eye, yo. This one a big yawa. Them chop our money clean mouth. Where did the and conscience go? Where the money cash out, them buy mansion. Oh Lord, them chop commission. While the people, they cry frustration. Scamdemic, Omega Pro, scamdemic. Money vanish like abracadabra. Scamdemic, EFCC go find them tire. Scamdemic, but the leaders don't disappear. Them say investment, but
Michael Fabiyi sat at his kitchen table, staring at the Omegamax account on his laptop. The numbers were intoxicating, daily compounding returns that promised to double his $1 million investment in just a few months.
You're really putting everything into this, Michael, the old retirement fund.
Remy, do you think I worked for 30 years just to scrape by? I want more than that. For us, for the kids. Omegamax is the chance we've been waiting for.
But what if it's a scam? What if we lose everything?
They've been running for over 3 years. And I spoke to Gloria Adeyemi myself. She's in it, Remy. She wouldn't risk her reputation if it wasn't.
2 weeks earlier, Gloria had visited the Fabiyis, her demeanor warm and reassuring.
Mr. Fabiyi, I know this is a big decision. But Omegamax is transforming lives. It's not just an investment, it's a lifeline. Trust me, you'll never regret this.
Now, as Michael clicked the transfer button to send the final $1 million installment, he felt a rush of adrenaline.
This is it, the start of something great.
Thomas Adedoyin had spent decades working as a senior civil servant in London. When he retired 6 months ago, his payout had been substantial, a hard-earned £500,000 saved through years of diligence. One afternoon he met Prince Odi Okafor at a high-end networking event. Odi's charm was magnetic, his confidence infectious.
After years of dedicated service, it's time to explore smart ways to make your hard-earned savings work for you.
I'm an old man, Odi. I'm not taking risks with my pension.
This isn't a risk. Omegamax is proven. It's changing lives. You've seen my house, my cars. That's not luck. That's result.
Thomas hesitated, but agreed to attend a private presentation. During the session, Kemi Ajayi used charts and graphs to demonstrate Omegamax's sustainability. Gloria Adeyemi gave a heartfelt speech about how the platform was helping Nigerians achieve financial independence.
Think of it as a legacy investment, something you can pass on to your children.
The next day, Thomas transferred £500,000 into the scheme.
I've worked hard my entire life. It's time for that hard work to pay off.
Pastor Matthew Oguntade stood in the empty lot where his congregation planned to build their new church. The site was overgrown with weeds, but in his mind's eye, he saw a gleaming sanctuary filled with worshipers. The church's building fund had grown steadily over the years, but it was still far from the amount needed for construction. That's when Omegamax came into the picture. During a meeting with Gloria Adeyemi, Pastor Matthew voiced his concerns.
This building project is God's vision, but the funds are coming too slowly. I can't keep asking the congregation to give more.
Pastor, Omegamax is the answer to your prayers. Invest the building fund and you'll have enough to build and furnish the church in 6 months.
This is the congregation's money. If anything goes wrong,
nothing will go wrong. This is God's plan.
Brothers and sisters, God has provided a way for us to accelerate his vision. We've placed the building fund into Omegamax, and soon we'll have the resources to build our sanctuary.
The congregation erupted into applause, their faith in their pastor wavering. 3 months after investing, Michael logged into his Omegamax account to check his payout status. His heart sank when he saw a message. Withdrawal processing delayed. Please contact your upline for assistance.
What's going on? My payout is delayed.
Just a system upgrade, nothing to worry about. You'll get your money soon.
But the delays continued, and Michael began to feel a gnawing sense of dread At a dinner party, Thomas overheard a friend discussing rumors about Omegamax.
They say it's a Ponzi scheme. People are starting to have trouble withdrawing their money.
Thomas confronted Odie the next day.
I'm hearing things, Odie. What's going on?
Rumors, my friend. Jealous people trying to tear us down. Trust the system. It's working.
But Thomas couldn't shake the feeling that he'd made a terrible mistake. In Lewisham, Pastor Matthew faced growing concerns from his congregation.
Pastor, when will we start the building project?
We're waiting for the funds to clear. It's just a matter of time.
But deep down, he felt the weight of his decision crushing him. What if the money never came back? What would he tell his congregation? In his penthouse overlooking the Thames, Bonavi Igbokwenu reviewed the latest investment figures. The UK operation was booming, but he knew the risks were escalating.
Bonavi, we've got over £50 million in new investments this quarter.
And how much longer before the cracks start showing?
A few months, maybe less. People are already asking questions.
Double the payouts for now. Keep them pacified. We'll squeeze every last pound out of this before it falls apart. The Omegamax office in London buzzed with activity, but the atmosphere was tense.
Bonavi, we're getting more questions about delayed payouts. Even the bigger investors are starting to get restless.
What's our current balance sheet?
We've brought in over £120 million in the UK, growing faster than the inflows. If this keeps up...
How long do we have before the first wave of collapse hits?
Maybe 2 months, 3 at best.
Start doubling small payouts immediately. Prioritize the mid-tier investors.
And the doubters?
Smother them with assurances. The louder they get, the faster we fall. That evening, Bonavi met with his wife, Amara, in the living room of their lavish townhouse. We need a safety net, something legitimate, a fallback in case Omegamax implodes.
And what's this safety net?
A bank. We'll establish it under your name. That way, even if my name gets dragged through the mud, you'll still be seen as a credible businesswoman.
A bank? That's not exactly a small investment.
It's not a small problem we're planning for. We'll use some of my share from the Omegamax funds. I've already been buying shares in Excelsior Bank back in Nigeria. Now it's time to acquire controlling interest.
And if people trace the money back to Omegamax?
They won't. I'll funnel it through shell companies and trusts. By the time it lands in your account, it'll be clean.
This is risky, Bonavi.
Everything about my life is risky. This is about protecting us, our family.
All right, let's do it.
Bonavi flew back to Nigeria to finalize his acquisition of Excelsior Bank shares. In a discreet meeting room in Victoria Island, he met with the bank's current majority shareholder.
You're offering 30% above market value. Why the rush?
I'm expanding my portfolio. Banks are a safe investment, and Excelsior has strong fundamentals. It's a no-brainer.
Money talks. If your offer clears, the shares are yours.
Back in London, Bonavi ramped up his damage control efforts. Gentlemen, I understand your concerns. But let me assure you, Omegamax is as strong as ever. These payout delays are temporary, a result of system upgrades and increased demand.
We've heard that before, Bonavi. People are starting to panic.
Thomas, you've known me for years. Do you think I will betray you? Trust me, your patience will pay off. Kemi spearheaded a social media campaign, showcasing new payouts. Gloria Adeyemi posted videos of herself thanking Omegamax for changing lives. Prince Odi hosted a flashy event in Chelsea, inviting influencers. Perception is everything. These are the tactics he used. Despite his outward confidence, Bonavi was growing increasingly paranoid. At night, he paced his penthouse, replaying worst-case scenarios in his mind. He began transferring funds from his personal Omegamax account to offshore bank accounts in the Cayman Islands and Switzerland.
You're not sleeping, baby.
I can't afford to. This is the game I chose, Amara, and the stakes are higher than ever. The pressure continued to mount. A London-based journalist published a damning article. Kemi and Gloria clashed over how to handle the rising backlash. Calm down. The plan is working. Focus on bringing in more money and keeping people quiet. That's all. Bonavi sat alone, staring at the skyline. His phone buzzed with updates, some good, most bad. Picked up a pen, scrawling figures onto a notepad. Investing in the bank was the right move. No matter what happens, I'll still have a way out. Let them come. I'm always 3 steps ahead.
Paul Nemesis sat in his chair at the London Observer newsroom, his desk cluttered with stacks of notes and printouts. With a steaming cup of coffee and a curious look, his editor, Helen McAllister, walked in.
You've been obsessing over this Omegamax thing for weeks now. What's the angle?
It's more than just another investment platform. I found complaints, delays in payouts, suspicious transfers. It's starting to stink like a Ponzi scheme.
That's a big claim. Do you have evidence?
Paul gestured to his screen. Dozens of investor complaints from social media had been captured on a Google sheet. Paul's first break came when he interviewed Michael Fabii, the retired pharmacist who had invested $1 million of his retirement savings. They met at a quiet cafe in Croydon. Lamenting, he said,
I was a fool. They made it sound so real. Gloria Adeyemi, she even came to my house, talked to me like she was sent by God.
When did you realize something was wrong?
When my first payout was delayed, then the second. Gloria kept saying it was a system issue, but now she stopped taking my calls.
Did you report it to anyone?
To whom? It's not like they're listed on the London Stock Exchange. I've lost everything.
Not everything. You've got a voice. Help me expose them.
Paul spent the next week combing through financial records. What he found shocked even him. A trail of suspicious transactions linked to Bona Vigbokwenu, funneled through shell companies in the Cayman Islands. Media silence. Glowing endorsements from social media influencers who were either paid off or part of the scheme. Delayed payouts. Hundreds of complaints across the UK, Canada, and Nigeria, with payouts slowing as recruitment plateaued. Paul's breakthrough came when a former Omegamax insider contacted him anonymously.
They're running out of money. The payouts are coming from new investments, and those are drying up. It's only a matter of time before it all collapses.
Paul decided to confront Bonav Igbokwenu. He secured an invitation to a public Omegamax seminar. The room was packed with eager investors, their eyes fixed on Bonav as he delivered his polished pitch.
This is your chance to change your life. Don't let fear hold you back. The future is here, and it's called Omegamax.
After the seminar, under the guise of a potential investor, Paul approached Bonavi.
Impressive presentation. I'm curious. How do you maintain such high returns?
Bonavi's smile faltered for a fraction of a second before returning.
We have a proprietary trading system that ensures consistent profits.
And the delays in payouts? Some investors are saying they've been waiting for weeks.
Every system has hiccups. Omegamax is no different, but our track record speaks for itself.
I'm a journalist with the London Observer. I'd like to schedule an interview to discuss this in more detail.
I don't think that will be necessary.
Paul's persistence led him to more sources, including an IT specialist who had worked on Omegamax's back end.
They don't actually trade Forex. The trading platform is just for show. The money flows in, gets redistributed, and the rest is funneled offshore.
So it's a classic Ponzi.
Exactly. And from what I've seen, the main players, Bonav, Danny Onojaja, Tommy Orunibe, are already preparing to disappear.
Paul began crafting his expose. Omegamax, the Ponzi scheme that fooled the world. Paul submitted the piece to Helen, who read it with wide eyes.
This could blow the lid off the entire operation, but you're going to make some very powerful enemies.
Let them come. The truth deserves to be told.
When the article was published, it sent shockwaves through the Nigerian community in London and beyond. Investors panicked. WhatsApp groups lit up with messages. Many rushed to withdraw their funds and found the system frozen. However, at a hastily arranged press conference, Bonavi denied the allegations.
These are baseless lies designed to discredit a legitimate business.
Privately, though, he was panicking.
We need to shut this down, pay off anyone who can silence the noise, and to move the rest of the funds offshore immediately.
Andreas Zakakas convened an emergency meeting with Mike Simpson and Dilawar Singh.
We are bleeding. Payout requests are outstripping new investments in the UK, Canada, and Nigeria. If this keeps up, the whole thing will collapse.
So what's the plan? We can't let this implode on our watch.
We move the funds into crypto. It's untraceable, fast, and gives us a way to launder everything before anyone realizes what's happening.
But how do we justify freezing payouts? Investors will demand answers.
We give them a story they can't question. A hacking breach. We'll blame some faceless group of hackers. Say we caught it in time and use it as an excuse to suspend payouts.
Perfect. We'll make it sound like we're protecting them. Shift the blame. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on such short notice. We want to address a situation that has come to our attention. Earlier this week, our cybersecurity team detected a breach in our trading systems. Hackers, believed to be operating from India, attempted to compromise our servers. Fortunately, we caught the breach before any damage could be done.
As a precaution, we will be recoding our servers and upgrading our systems to ensure this doesn't happen again. However, this process will require a temporary suspension of payouts for 30 days.
We understand your concerns, but this is a necessary step to safeguard your investments. Omegamax remains strong, and we will emerge from this more secure than ever.
Hours after the webinar, Andreas, Mike, and Dilawar monitored the fallout.
Most of them bought it. There's some anger, but the majority seem reassured.
Good. Now, move the funds. Start with the largest accounts and work your way down. Make it look like routine trading activity.
Once this is done, we'll be untouchable.
Michael Fabier logged into his Omegamax account, his heart pounding. The dashboard displayed his trading activity as usual, with his account balance untouched.
They said it's just a delay. It'll be fine.
Michael, they've been delaying payouts for months.
At an Omegamax seminar, Danny Onojaja addressed a room full of anxious investors.
The hacking incident was unfortunate, but it proves one thing. Omegamax is serious about protecting your money. If the system wasn't strong, it wouldn't be a target for hackers.
But why suspend payouts? If our money is safe, why can't we withdraw it?
Because safety comes first. You'll thank us when everything is resolved.
Banwo hosted a prayer session for her top investors.
God is testing our faith. Omegamax is his blessing, and we must trust him to see us through this storm. The devil wants us to doubt, but we will not give in.
Paul Nemesis watched the webinar recording with growing incredulity. The language, the timing, it all screamed cover-up. He reached out to his IT source, who confirmed his suspicions.
They're using crypto to hide the money. Once it's in the blockchain, it's almost impossible to trace. This isn't just a Ponzi, it's a heist.
We have no choice. If we admit the truth, we're finished.
Focus on damage control. Double down on recruitment. We need new money to cover the pay.
And if we can't?
Then we fall back. Everyone should be preparing their exits.
The 30-day suspension ended without payouts. Michael Fabii sat in his living room, staring at the still unpaid withdrawal request on his Omegamax dashboard.
They lied to us.
In WhatsApp groups and social media forums, the outrage was deafening. People calling them thieves, asking for all they promised, looking for answers. Meanwhile, at a cafe in Lagos, a group of investors confronted an Omegamax agent. They are all shouting at the agent. The agent stammered, clutching his phone as if it could shield him. In a luxurious private suite, Andreas Akakas, Mike Simmons, and Dilawar Singh held a tense meeting.
We can't sustain this. The investors are furious. The agents are losing control. We need a new strategy.
The payouts backlog is too big to clear with what's left. But we can't let this collapse just yet.
Ha 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 ha. Then we start fresh. A new scheme. Something clean. Something exciting. Without the baggage of Omegamax.
And what happens to Omegamax?
We keep it afloat just enough to distract people. The new program will give us fresh capital and buy us time.
What do you have in mind for the new scam?
Financial education. We pivot to teaching people how to achieve financial freedom. Real estate, crypto, stock trading. We package it as high-value seminars and online courses with hefty fees to join.
And the agents?
We bring in the top Black Diamond leaders, promise them a ground floor position with seed money. Make them feel like they're part of something exclusive. Ha 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 ha.
The top Omegamax leaders were flown to an exclusive resort in the Maldives, a journey filled with first-class luxury. The list included Danny Onojaja, Tommy Orunibere, Bonavi Igbokwenu, Ufoman Wokobia. At the evening banquet, Andreas took the stage, flanked by Dilawar and Mike.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are the heart and soul of Omegamax. Without you, none of this would have been possible. To ensure our success continues, we've devised a bold new strategy. FinEdu Pro will revolutionize the way people learn about financial freedom.
Each of you will receive $100,000 in seed money to establish yourself as a top agent in FinEdu Pro. You'll be at the ground floor with exclusive territories.
The profits from FinEdu Pro will help us clear the Omegamax backlog.
Murmurs of excitement filled the room. Leaders were given private sessions with Andreas and Dilawar to discuss their roles in the new program, with live orchestras providing entertainment. Each leader received personalized gifts, including luxury watches. During a private dinner with Tommy Orunibere, Danny Onojaja, and Bona V. Igbokwenyu, Andreas raised a toast. When the leaders returned to their respective countries, they were invigorated and full of renewed enthusiasm. Tommy Orunibere hosted private presentations for his most trusted downlines. Bona V shifted focus to London, targeting influential figures. Ufoma incorporated FinEdu Pro into her evangelical network. The excitement around FinEdu Pro distracted many investors from Omegamax's issues, and a small wave of new funds allowed the masterminds to issue selective payouts. The cracks continued to widen, and Paul Nemesis was already tracking the new scheme. Episode 18, The Fresh Trap. Bona Igbokwenyu stood in a sleek conference room.
You've heard of opportunities that change lives. This is one of them. FinEdu Pro isn't just about education. It's about transformation. Here we have Gloria Adeyemi. You're welcome.
Imagine giving people the tools to create wealth while securing your own financial future. This isn't like Omegamax. This is about empowering communities and teaching financial freedom.
In the audience, the reactions were mixed.
If this works, I can finally pay back my recruits.
We just have to move fast. Ground floor opportunities like this don't come twice.
It feels like a smokescreen. They're trying to distract us from...
But what choice do we have? If we don't join, we're left with nothing. At least this way, we can try to recover some of what we've lost.
In Lagos, Daniel Onoja hosted an exclusive recruitment seminar for FinEdu Pro at a luxury hotel. The room was filled with professionals.
We know what you're thinking. This is not Omegamax. This is the next evolution, an opportunity for those who want to take control of their financial destiny.
The potential returns for agents were staggering. Commissions on course enrollments and bonuses for reaching recruitment milestones.
Excuse me, sir. Be honest with us. Is this just a way to cover up what's happening with Omegamax?
Not at all. FinEdu Pro stands on its own, but I won't lie to you. Success here could give us the leverage to resolve some of Omegamax's issues. It's a win-win for everyone.
That was enough to sway many in the room.
In Toronto, Ufoma Nwokovia held a prayer meeting with her loyal downlines to introduce FinEdu Pro.
God works in mysterious ways. Sometimes the road to blessings takes us through trials. FinEdu Pro is his way of providing a fresh start.
Many of her recruits were convinced, seeing the new program as a divine opportunity to rebuild their finances.
Look, this isn't about trust. It's about action. The faster we move, the more we make. You're either in or out.
I'm in. If this helps me cover my losses, it's worth it.
This is wrong. They're setting up another Ponzi and people are going to lose even more.
But what about us? What about the money we lost?
I can't be part of this. It's blood money. The money that has no legitimate source.
The launch of FinEdu Pro unleashed a frenzy of recruitment activity across the UK, Nigeria, Canada, and beyond. Social media blitz. Influencers promoted FinEdu Pro as a life-changing opportunity, flooding Instagram and TikTok with posts of luxury lifestyles, church endorsements. Gloria continued leveraging her gospel network, pitching FinEdu Pro as a divine calling to spread financial education. Corporate targets. Bona Igbokwenyu targeted high-earning professionals in London, framing the program as a way to diversify income streams. For many new recruits, the goal wasn't just to earn money. It was to salvage what they had lost in Omegamax. As FinEdu Pro gained momentum, cracks began to appear in the facade.
You promised us payouts from Omegamax. Now you're telling us to join another scheme?
It's all connected. The success of FinEdu Pro will bring resolution to Omegamax.
In London, Emmanuel Akinbi posted anonymously on an online forum. Back in Dubai, Andreas, Mike, and Dilawar monitored the launch from their penthouse suite.
It's working. The agents are re-energized and the cash is flowing again.
Of course it's working. Greed and desperation are powerful motivators.
As long as we need to. By the time they catch on, we'll be untouchable.
Coming up next, the Great Misdirection.
Omega Pro way, influencer Lamba way, legit for I.
The atmosphere in the opulent boardroom of a luxury hotel was tense. 20 of the top Omegamax leaders, including Danny Onojaja, Tommy Oruni Berdi, Bonavi Igbokwen, and other Black Diamond elites, sat around the polished table. Andreas Sakakas, flanked by Mike Simpson and Dilawar Singh, entered the room.
Gentlemen, ladies, I know you're concerned. I know you've been hearing complaints from your teams and investors. But I'm here to tell you, the money is not lost.
A murmur rippled through the room. Simpson stepped forward, placing a folder on the table.
Here's the situation. A portion of our funds, specifically those processed through our U.S. channels, has been flagged by American financial authorities. This is due to their investigation into one of my past businesses, which they claim is tied to international money laundering.
The room erupted in gasps and hushed conversations.
Is someone holding our money?
Exactly. They've frozen our accounts pending a full investigation. But I want to assure you, this is not a dead end. We're already working with lawyers and compliance teams to resolve this.
This is why the system reset has taken longer than expected. We didn't want to alarm you until we had concrete answers. But let me make this very clear. The money is still there. It's just temporarily inaccessible.
Dilawar opened a folder containing proof of seized funds from the U.S. government.
This is proof. The money is intact. We just need a little more time to get it released.
The Omegamax leaders at the meeting weren't entirely convinced.
Why weren't we told about this sooner? 6 months is a long time to keep us in the dark.
Because we didn't want to cause unnecessary panic. We needed to verify the situation and begin resolving it before involving you.
And what if this drags on? What do we tell our downlines and investors?
Tell them the truth, at least the part they need to hear. Say that regulatory issues have delayed payouts, but that the funds are secure and will be released soon. Show them the dashboards if necessary. Keep them calm and focused.
Do you have any idea how hard it's been to keep them quiet? People are threatening us. Some are even talking about lawsuits.
And that's exactly why we need you to stand strong. Your teams look to you for guidance. If you lose faith, they lose faith. If you stay calm, they stay calm. This is a temporary setback, and we'll come out of it stronger.
The meeting shifted to damage control strategies. Danny Onojaja suggested holding regional seminars to reassure mid-level agents and investors. Gloria Adeyemi proposed issuing small payouts selectively to appease the loudest critics. Bonavi pushed for tighter control over social media narratives, recommending the removal of negative comments and boosting positive testimonials.
These are all excellent ideas. The key is to maintain momentum. FinEdu Pro is gaining traction. Use that as a way to keep your teams engaged while we work behind the scenes to release the funds.
We've also allocated additional seed funds for any leaders who need financial support during this period. If you're struggling to manage your teams, let us know.
to ease the leaders' lingering doubts. Andreas and his team lavished them with extravagant hospitality, including designer watches, $20,000 prepaid debit cards, private tours of Dubai's iconic skyline, exclusive yacht parties, and a toast at a Michelin-starred restaurant celebrating the resilience and loyalty of the Omegamax family. As the leaders drank and laughed, some of their initial panic subsided.
You have to admit, these guys know how to put on a show.
Danny nodded but remained silent, a flicker of doubt still in his eyes. When the leaders returned to their respective countries, they were met with the full force of investor frustration. In London, Banwo held a closed-door meeting with his inner circle.
Look, I understand your concerns, but the money is safe. This is just a delay caused by regulatory issues in the US. Give it a few more weeks, and everything will be resolved.
You've been saying that for months, Banwo. People are starting to lose their homes over this.
I know, but trust me, it's going to be okay. Just keep your teams focused on FinEduPro for now.
Meanwhile, Danny and Tommy organized a seminar to reassure their Nigerian agents.
We've heard the rumors, but let me assure you, Omegamax is not collapsing. This is a temporary challenge, and we are working around the clock to resolve it.
The room was silent, the tension palpable.
Have faith. If we stand together, we'll weather this storm.
Wahala for trust influencer. Shall you see them don't run? Omega Pro way, influencer Lamba way, legit for I.
In a conference room in Lagos, mid-level Omegamax agents gathered to voice their growing frustrations. The air was stifling with tension as voices overlapped in heated arguments.
This isn't making sense anymore. They keep telling us to wait, but it's been over 6 months and nothing has changed.
I've lost count of how many times I've been threatened by my downlines. People are camping outside my house, demanding their money. What am I supposed to do?
This is a Ponzi. They're lying to us, just like every other scheme. We've been scammed.
A hush fell over the room as everyone absorbed his words. At a townhouse in Croydon, a group of investors led by Michael Fabii met to discuss their next steps.
They've gone too far this time. 6 months of excuses, fake hacking stories.
We need to take action and report them. If we wait any longer, we'll lose everything.
But what if they're telling the truth?
But I'm done waiting. These people need to be held accountable.
The group began drafting a formal complaint to UK financial regulators and the police, marking the first coordinated legal effort against Omegamax. Meanwhile, in Canada, a pastor who had lost his congregation's building fund to Omegamax delivered a fiery sermon condemning the scheme.
These wolves in sheep's clothing have deceived us. They've preyed on our trust, and now we must seek justice.
The sermon, streamed online, went viral, sparking outrage among other victims in the Nigerian-Canadian community. At another gathering of Nigerian agents, the tension grew worse and finally gotten into physical confrontations.
You brought me into this. You promised me I'd get my money back.
I was lied to, just like you. I don't have the money.
In Bonaventure Igbokwenu's penthouse, his trusted downline, Fola Ajayi, confronted him directly.
You've always told me to trust you, but how can I keep defending you when everything is falling apart?
Fola, listen to me. I've spoken to Andreas. The funds are frozen, but they'll be released soon. You just have to hold on.
I'm running out of time, and so are you.
The growing unrest spilled onto social media, where frustrated investors began naming and shaming Omegamax agents. This guy scammed me. Avoid him at all costs. Omegamax is collapsing, and they're still trying to recruit people into FinEduPro. If anyone knows where these agents live, let us know. Danny Onojaja and Tommy Orunibere held a private meeting to address the growing hostility.
This is getting out of hand. If we don't calm these people down, someone's going to get seriously hurt or worse.
We need to release some payouts, even if it's just a fraction. It's the only way to buy time.
But where's the money going to come from?
FinEdu Pro, we squeeze it for all it's worth?
In London, Bona V held a hastily organized seminar, pitching FinEdu Pro even harder.
This is the solution. FinEdu Pro is your chance to turn things around. The more you bring in, the faster we can resolve everything.
Some agents bought into his pitch, desperate to salvage their losses. Others walked out, their faith shattered. The final straw came when a group of investors stormed an Omegamax office in Abuja, demanding answers.
You've stolen our money.
Please, we're working on it. The funds are safe and payouts will resume soon.
We don't want your promises anymore. We want our money.
As the crowd grew more aggressive, the manager slipped out through a back exit, leaving the investors to vent their rage in the empty office. Back in Dubai, Andreas, Mike, and Dilawar monitored the chaos that is taking place in Lagos, Nigeria.
It's getting messy.
Messy means desperate. And desperate people are easier to control.
Here's to buying more time.
But even as they celebrated, the storm brewing in the real world showed no signs of abating. Michael Fabiyi sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the foreclosure notice in his hands.
I worked 30 years for this. 30 years. And it's all gone.
I told you not to put everything into that scam. I begged you, Michael.
I thought I was doing the right thing for us. For the kids. They promised.
They lied, and now we've lost the house, our savings, everything. How are we supposed to start over at our age?
Her words hung in the air like a death sentence. Pastor Matthew Oguntade stood before his dwindling congregation, the guilt heavy on his shoulders.
I owe you all an apology. I trusted Omegamax with the funds for our new church. And now, it's gone.
The room was silent. After the service, several congregants approached him. "You should have known better, Pastor," one man said, shaking his head. "You're supposed to lead us, not gamble with our future." The weight of their words crushed Pastor Matthew. That evening he sat alone, praying for forgiveness. In a modest apartment in Ikeja, Tayo Alabi faced his family's fury.
You did what?
I invested the school fees. But it was supposed to grow. I was trying to secure our future.
Our future? How are we supposed to pay the rent, school fees, and feed?
So we're broke because of you? What kind of father does that?
Kunle.
Don't touch me.
I don't know how we're supposed to come back from this. Teo, I really don't.
Miriam Okoro, a university student, stared at her laptop screen in disbelief. Her tuition payment had been rejected, and her Omegamax account still showed pending payout.
This can't be happening.
Miriam, you said this was a sure thing.
It was. I was just trying to make enough to cover tuition and help my parents back home.
You need to tell them.
I can't. They sold part of our farm to send me here. If they find out I lost everything.
She broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. Thomas Adedoyan paced the empty floor of what used to be his thriving logistics company.
I trusted them.
The building was up for auction.
I trusted them with everything.
There's nothing we can do, Thomas. Even if you sue, they've moved the money offshore. It's gone.
They ruined me. They ruined my family.
Social media became a battleground as victims shared their stories, their rage spilling into the public sphere. Videos of confrontations with agents and protests outside Omegamax offices went viral, fueling the fire. Back in Abuja, Danny Onojaja and Tommy Orunibere met in secret.
This is getting out of hand. The backlash is worse than anything we've seen before.
I'm getting death threats daily. My family can't leave the house. We need to do something.
There's nothing we can do. The money's gone, Tommy.
We're just playing for time now.
Wahala for who trust influencer. Shall you see them don't run. Omega Pro way, influencer Lamba way. Legit for I.
Episode 22, The Great Escape.
Andreas Zakach paced the length of the penthouse living room, his usually calm demeanor unraveling. The news reports on the television behind him painted a grim picture. Protests outside Omegamax offices, accusations of fraud, and whispers of impending legal action.
We're running out of time. Every day the pressure gets worse.
The agents are panicking. Some are threatening to turn on us if we don't come up with a solution.
There is no solution. The money's gone. The only move left is to disappear.
We need to cover our tracks first. If we leave loose ends, they'll come after.
The conspirators spent days moving funds through an intricate web of shell companies, cryptocurrency wallets, and offshore accounts.
Most of the funds are already in the Caymans. I'm setting up new accounts in Belize and Panama for added security.
And the crypto?
Split into smaller wallets, completely untraceable. By the time anyone figures out where it went, we'll be long gone.
You've got to love blockchain. Andreas had already purchased a private island in the Maldives under an alias. His yacht, docked in Dubai's marina, was stocked with enough supplies to last for months. This is my fallback. If anything goes wrong, I'm out of here within an hour. Mike secured a fake passport and booked a private jet to Switzerland. Calais waiting for me in the Alps. Perfect place to lay low until this blows up. De La Warre's escape was more low-key. He planned to cross into India by road, using his network to disappear into the chaos of New Delhi.
I'll blend in. No one will find me.
The masterminds convened one final meeting with the top leaders of Omegamax, held in a luxury suite in Dubai. The mood was grim, the leaders clearly on edge.
This is the last phase. We're finalizing the process to unfreeze the funds, but it's going to take more time.
More time? We've already lost the trust of our downlines. People are threatening us.
That's why we need you to hold the line. Keep your teams engaged. Use FinEdu Pro to bring in fresh capital. It's our best chance to stabilize things.
And what happens if we can't?
Then it collapses and you take the blame.
The room went silent as the implications sank in. You're throwing us under the bus.
We're giving you a chance to salvage this. If you can't, that's on you.
The conspirators spent their final days in Dubai indulging in the wealth they had accumulated. Lavish parties. They hosted one last yacht party, inviting socialites and influencers to revel in luxury. Shopping sprees. Andreas purchased a diamond-encrusted watch, while Mike spent millions on a collection of rare cars. Personal farewells. De La Warre visited his favorite restaurant one last time, savoring a quiet meal before vanishing into the night. But beneath the surface, their confidence was cracking. As the pressure mounted, tension flared among the masterminds.
I don't trust your plan. What if your escape draws attention to the rest of us?
Then don't follow me. Do what you want, but don't question me again.
Let's just get through this. We're in too deep to start fighting now. The day of their planned escape arrived with little fanfare. Andreas left early in the morning, boarding his yacht and disappearing into the Arabian Sea. Mike took a private car to the airport, his fake passport in hand. Within hours, he was en route to Zurich. Dilawar slipped out of Dubai unnoticed, crossing the border into India with nothing but a small suitcase and a burner phone. By nightfall, the penthouse was empty. Its occupants scattered across the globe. Coming up next, the fallout among the abandoned.
Omega Pro way, influencer Lamba way, legit for I, boss come for. Omega Pro wahala, scamdemic, money vanish like abracadabra. Scamdemic, EFCC go find them fire. Scamdemic, but the leaders don't disappear. Them say investment, but it be Ponzi. Them they flex Bugatti. All the diamonds them they shine for Grammy. While we they hustle, them they pop champagne. We they work, we they sweat. Them they scam, them they flex. Where the money? My people, make una shine your eye, yo. This one a big yawa. Them chop our money clean mouth. Where did the time and conscience go? Them shop and run. See Daniel, see Lily, see Bonaventure. Them don't cash out, them buy mansion. Oh Lord, them chop commission. While the people, they cry frustration. Scamdemic, Omega Pro wahala. Scamdemic, money vanish like abracadabra. Scamdemic, EFCC go find them tire.
Episode 23, The Fallout Among the Abandoned. The news broke early in the morning. Reports from anonymous sources claimed that Andreas Zakach, Mike Sims, and Dilawar Singh had fled Dubai. The Omegamax leadership structure was now rudderless, and rumors of bankruptcy spread like wildfire. Danny Onojaja read the reports on his phone with growing dread. His phone buzzed incessantly with messages from downlines and investors demanding answers. What's happening, Daniel? Is this true? I told my family to trust you. Now look what's happened. Where is my money? These are messages from investors demanding answers from Danny Onojaja.
It's over, Daniel. They've abandoned us.
Not yet. We can still contain this. We have to.
Danny called an emergency meeting with his core Nigerian team, including Ufoma Nwalisa and a few other top-level agents.
We need to control the story. If people think the money is gone, there will be riots. We can't let that happen.
What do we even tell them? That the money is frozen. That's the same lie we've been peddling for months.
We stick to the story. Regulatory issues, frozen accounts. It's the only explanation that buys us time.
And then what? Do we conjure up the money from thin air?
We focus on FinEdu Pro. It's the only way to bring in fresh funds. If we can keep the new program running, we might salvage something.
The room fell silent, the weight of the deception crushing any sense of hope. At an impromptu meeting of mid-level agents in Abuja, the mood turned volatile.
We've been lied to. The money is gone and they're still telling us to recruit more people.
I've mortgaged my house for this. My investors are threatening to kill me if I don't pay them back. What are we supposed to do?
As the shouting escalated, a physical altercation broke out between two agents. One accused the other of stealing his recruits, while others screamed at the Omegamax organizers for answers. The meeting ended in chaos, with the agents dispersing in anger and fear. Bona Igbokwenu barricaded himself in his penthouse. His phone turned off as angry investors gathered outside the building.
They know where I live. I can't leave. They'll tear me apart.
We need to go public. Tell them we've been betrayed by the Dubai team.
And implicate myself in the process? Forget it. I just need to survive this.
Ufoma received a message from a church member who had invested through her. If you don't pay me back, I'll make sure you never preach again. Consider this your final warning. He deleted the message, their hands trembling. Journalists began to uncover the truth about Omegamax, publishing exposés that named key agents and detailed their involvement in the scheme. The London Observer ran a headline, Omegamax Collapse, UK Agents Under Fire. Paul Nemesis's investigative piece listed Bona Igbokwenu and several other UK leaders as central figures in the scam. A popular news outlet published a scathing article, The Faces Behind Nigeria's Biggest Ponzi Scheme. It included photos of Danny, Tommy, and Ufoma, alongside allegations of fraud and complicity. In a last-ditch effort to calm the most vocal critics, the agents pooled what little money remained in Finedupro to issue selective payouts.
This is just the beginning. The rest is coming soon.
You'd better hope it does.
Bona sent a wire transfer to one of his most persistent investors. Spread the word, he texted. Payouts are resuming. The payouts did little to stem the rising tide of anger. In many cities, Omegamax agents became targets of violence and public humiliation. A mob stormed an Omegamax office, smashing windows and destroying equipment. The agents on site barely escaped with their lives. Protesters gathered outside Bona's building, chanting, "Where's our money?" He watched from a window, his heart pounding as the crowd grew larger and more aggressive. Danny Onojaja, exhausted and defeated, sat alone in his office. His phone buzzed with messages from his family, his agents, his investors, all demanding answers he didn't have. Bona packed a small suitcase ready to flee. He glanced at a framed photo of his family on the nightstand, his guilt threatening to overwhelm him.
I have no choice.
Coming up next, episode 24, Lies and Desperation.
As Omegamax's collapse seemed inevitable, the agents resorted to increasingly bold lies to stem the growing chaos. One of the top agents from France traveled to Nigeria in a last-ditch effort to reassure investors, only to face arrest and a humiliating exit that left chaos in his wake. Danny Onojaja stood before a room filled with Omegamax downlines, his face calm despite the storm brewing inside him.
We understand your concerns, but I promise you Omegamax is still strong. The money is secure, and payouts will resume soon. The delays are temporary.
You've been saying that for months, Danny. Where is the money?
I know it's been hard, but think of the bigger picture. The funds were frozen due to regulatory issues, but our leadership is working tirelessly to resolve this. Just give us a little more time.
After the meeting, Tommy Orunibere pulled Danny aside.
How long do you think they'll buy this story?
As long as we can make them believe it, we have no other choice.
Jean-Luc Bertrand, one of Omegamax's top European agents, sat in his penthouse apartment, reading frantic messages from his Nigerian downlines. The stories of protests, threats, and violence were escalating, and the Nigerian leaders begged him to intervene.
They're losing faith. If we don't act, the entire operation collapses.
Jean-Luc decided to travel to Nigeria himself, confident that his charm and authority could calm the storm. Jean-Luc arrived in Lagos to great fanfare. Dressed in an immaculate suit and exuding confidence, he addressed a packed hall of agents and investors.
Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you good news. Omegamax is not failing, the funds are safe, and payouts will resume soon. The delays are simply a result of external interference, but we are working tirelessly to resolve them.
The room erupted into applause, and for a moment it seemed like the chaos had been quelled. Later that evening, Jean-Luc hosted a private dinner for top Nigerian leaders, including Danny and Tommy.
See, a little reassurance goes a long way.
They'll come after you too if the payouts don't start soon.
Let them try. I've dealt with worse.
The very next day, as Jean-Luc prepared for another seminar, the storm broke. A group of angry investors, led by a man named Kunle Ogunjobi, intercepted Jean-Luc at his hotel.
You think you can come here and lie to us? Where's our money?
Please, my friend, let's discuss this civilly. The funds are secure, I assure you.
We don't want assurances. We want our money.
Within minutes, the confrontation escalated. Police arrived at the scene, alerted by the hotel staff, and Jean-Luc was taken into custody for disturbing the peace. At the police station, Jean-Luc quickly realized he was in over his head. A crowd of furious investors gathered outside, demanding justice.
This man is a thief. He's stolen billions from us.
Get me out of here, Danny. I'm not staying in this country another minute.
Danny scrambled to resolve the situation, pooling funds with Tommy and other agents to pay off the police and Kunle's group. Jean-Luc was released that night, but the ordeal had shaken him. He left the station flanked by 2 bodyguards, pushing through a jeering crowd of investors. Back at his hotel, he packed his bags hastily, ready to leave the country.
Danny, this was a mistake. Nigeria is a powder keg. I'm done with this.
He boarded the first flight out of Lagos, leaving behind a fractured network and escalating chaos. The news of Jean-Luc's arrest spread like wildfire, further eroding investor confidence.
You see? Even their leader is fleeing the situation.
Danny and Tommy worked desperately to salvage the situation, but the lies were wearing thin. Back in France, Jean-Luc issued a carefully worded statement to his downlines, distancing himself from Omegamax. "I was misled just as you were." The message read, "I will do everything in my power to recover our funds."
Wahala for who trust influencer. Shall you see them don't run. Omega Pro way, influencer Lamba way. Legit for I.
The anger among Omegamax investors reached a boiling point as more stories of losses and betrayal emerged. A group of prominent investors organized a meeting to address the growing crisis. Over 100 people gathered, furious investors, distraught downlines.
We're here because we've been lied to. The money is gone. The so-called leaders have disappeared, and we're left with nothing. But we refuse to let this end here. You made money off this scheme. You recruited us, you collected commissions, and you assured us it was safe. Now it's time for you to take responsibility.
We understand your frustration, but you need to know that we're victims too. We believed in Omegamax just as much as you did. I personally invested millions, money that is now locked up, just like yours.
You were paid commissions. You made money while we lost everything.
Those commissions were reinvested back into the system, We didn't pocket them. We trusted the process. And now we're in the same position as you.
We all need to work together to find the real culprits, the masterminds in Dubai. Fighting each other won't get us anywhere.
We're not buying your stories. You lived in mansions, drove G-Wagons, and hosted lavish parties. How can you claim you didn't make anything?
If you really want to help us, start by refunding some of the commissions you took. That's the least you can do.
Refund commissions? Are you serious? We've lost more than you can imagine. If you think making scapegoats of us is the answer, then fine. But don't expect us to work with you on recovering the funds.
Enough. We're all in this together. The question is, what do?
We need the agents to lead the recovery efforts. They have the connections, the knowledge of the system, and the resources to track these people down. But we can't trust them unless they show goodwill by returning some of the money they earn.
That's not how this works. The money isn't sitting in our accounts. It was all reinvested. If we are going to recover anything, we need to pool our efforts and focus on finding Andreas and his team. We still believe the funds are frozen and can't be recovered.
How convenient. Now it's about working together after you've lined your pocket.
That's a list of all the commissions you've earned from our money. We know how much you took, and we're not leaving until you commit to paying it back.
If you think we're bad, then there's no point in this conversation. We came here to help, but you made us scapegoats. You're on your own.
Back at his office, Danny sat with Tommy and Ufoma, his hands shaking with frustration.
They don't understand. We're victims too. How do they expect us to pay them back when we've lost everything?
It doesn't matter what we say. They've already made up their minds that we're the bad guys.
We have to figure out our next move. If we don't, they'll come for us. And this time, it won't just be words.
We can't rely on the agents to help us. If they won't cooperate, we'll handle this ourselves. It's time to go after the real masterminds.
The group resolved to form a task force to investigate Andreas, Mike, and Dilawar, as well as to pursue legal action.
Wahala for who trust influencer. Shall you see them don't run. Omega Pro way, influencer Lamba way, legit for I. My people, make una shine your eye, yo. This one a big yawa. Them chop our money clean, man. Whether to die and come.
With a resolve to piece things together. In a meeting room in Lagos, Nigeria, Barrister Olaolu Bamiwole sat in the back of the chaotic investors' meeting as the agents stormed out, claiming they were victims too. Something in him snapped.
They're lying, every last one of them. Kunle, enough of this back and forth. It's time we do this the right way, through legal action and coordinated pressure. If they think they can walk away unscathed, they have another thing coming.
What's the plan?
We go after everyone, from the agents here in Nigeria to the masterminds in Dubai. No one gets a pass.
The following week, a group of 20 influential investors gathered in a discreet location in Lagos.
The problem with our last meeting is that it was driven by emotion, not strategy. If we're going to recover anything, we need a coordinated plan. No more shouting matches. No more chaos.
Barrister Bamiwole laid out 3 key objectives.
Number 1, legal accountability. We will file lawsuits against local agents to freeze their assets and compel them to provide information about the masterminds. Number 2, international coordination. We will work with authorities in Dubai, France, and other jurisdictions to track down Andreas, Mike, and Dilawar. Number 3. Media and public pressure. Let's use the media to keep the story alive and expose everyone involved, forcing them out of hiding.
What about the agents who claim they're victims too? Do we target them as well?
They profited from this scam. Even if they're not the masterminds, they'll be held accountable, locally and internationally.
The task force began compiling a comprehensive dossier on Omegamax. Investor testimonies, victims provided signed affidavits detailing their losses, the promises made by agents, and the payouts they never received. Commission trails. Financial analysts within the group tracked the commissions paid to top agents, piecing together a web of transactions leading to offshore accounts. Agent statements. Some mid-level agents, desperate to clear their names, agreed to provide information on the structure of Omegamax and its operations. Filing lawsuits. Banwo and his legal team filed multiple lawsuits in courts, naming Danny Onojaja, Tommy Orunibere, and Ufoma Nwokobia as defendants. International outreach. Banwo also reached out to contacts abroad, leveraging his reputation as a prominent lawyer. Dubai authorities. He petitioned Dubai's financial regulatory bodies, providing evidence of Omegamax's fraudulent activities and demanding action against Andreas, Mike, and Dilawar. Interpol. The task force submitted a request for Interpol to issue red notices for the masterminds. Media campaign. Banwo collaborated with journalists like Paul Nemesis to publish detailed exposés of Omegamax's operations, putting international pressure on the fugitives. The lawsuits and asset freezes sent shockwaves through the Nigerian Omegamax network.
They're freezing everything. We need to fight this.
With what? The money's gone, Danny. We're finished.
In Abuja, Ufoma Nwokobia's mansion was raided by court-appointed officials. A video of the raid went viral, further eroding public sympathy for the agents. Inspired by Banwo's leadership, other victims began organizing in cities like London, Toronto, and Paris. In London, Bonav Igbokwenu's name was added to the list of defendants in the UK, where a group of investors filed a class action lawsuit. In Toronto, Canadian investors launched their own legal campaign, targeting agents and pressing local authorities to investigate Omegamax's operations. The task force wasn't without its challenges. Some members argued that focusing on the agents would distract from finding the masterminds. Others questioned whether the legal system could ever recover the stolen money.
This isn't just about the money. It's about justice. We can't let these people get away with this. Not the agents, not the masterminds. If we give up now, they win.
As the task force gained traction, Banwo received a tip from a contact in Dubai, a possible lead on Andreas Sakaka's whereabouts. He shared the news with the group, his expression cautious but determined.
This could be the break we've been waiting for, but we need to move fast.
The room buzzed with renewed energy as the investors prepared for the next phase of their crusade.
From Dubai to Niger, them carry come, but not pure format.
My land colleague, so no mega pro scam you.
Barrister Olaolu Bamiwole stood at the head of a crowded meeting room filled with investors, task force members, and a handful of wary Omegamax agents.
We are not here to make excuses. You recruited people into this scheme. You promised safety, returns, and life-changing opportunities. Now, those same people are facing ruin. It's time to take responsibility.
We've already told you we're victims too. We didn't know the masterminds would disappear like this.
Victims don't collect commissions worth millions, while the people they recruit lose everything. Whether you were part of the conspiracy or simply careless.
And what exactly do you expect us to do?
Contribute at least 10% of the commissions you received. That money will be distributed among the duped investors. It won't solve everything, but it's a start.
We don't have the money. Most of it was reinvested. We're struggling just like everyone else.
If you truly believed in the scheme, then you were careless. If you knew it was fraudulent, then you're complicit. Either way, you will be held accountable. Mark my words.
Days later, Banwo flew from the United States to Nigeria to escalate his efforts. Determined to hold the agents responsible, he began by filing formal charges with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
We've compiled substantial evidence against the local agents of Omegamax. They recruited thousands, collected millions in commissions, and now claim ignorance while the masterminds have fled.
This is a complex case, but if what you're presenting holds up, we can act.
Good. We need arrests, asset seizures, and public accountability.
We'll start by issuing summonses. If they don't cooperate, we'll escalate to arrests.
These people must know that justice is coming.
Banwo hired a team of high-powered lawyers in Lagos to draft criminal charges against Danny, Tommy, Ufoma, and several other top agents. The charges included fraud and misrepresentation, operating an unlicensed financial scheme, conspiracy to defraud. Simultaneously, Banwo filed civil lawsuits demanding financial restitution. He sought court orders to freeze the agents' assets and compel them to disclose their financial records.
We'll hit them from every angle. They've hidden behind excuses for long. It's time to strip away their defenses.
Banwo worked with local law enforcement to track down the agents. Using tips from investors, police began monitoring the agents' movements. Officers visited Danny's office and home in Lagos, but he was nowhere to be found. Police raided Tommy's luxury apartment in Abuja, seizing documents and electronics, but failing to locate him. Agents were spotted entering her church in Lagos to confront her, but she claimed she was cooperating with the investigation. Videos of the raids and confrontations spread on social media, fueling public anger. Comments ranged from support for the crackdown to accusations that the agents were scapegoats. In a dramatic encounter, Banwo confronted Danny Onojaja during a chance meeting at a high-end Lagos restaurant.
You think you can avoid this forever?
I have nothing to hide. I'm working to recover the funds.
Recover the funds? The masterminds are gone, and you're still clinging to that lie. If you were serious about helping, you'd have handed over your commissions months ago.
You think this is easy for me? I've lost everything. My reputation, my family, my safety. What more do you want?
I want justice, and I won't stop until I get it.
Court orders began freezing their bank accounts and seizing their properties. Danny's mansion in Lagos, Tommy's fleet of luxury cars, and Ufoma's jewelry collection were among the high-profile targets. The agents faced increasing hostility from the public. Protesters gathered outside their homes. Some mid-level agents, fearing prosecution, began cooperating with the task force, providing information about the scheme's operations and the masterminds. At the end of another long day, Banwo addressed the task force.
We're making progress, but this is only the beginning. The agents thought they could hide behind their lies. The masterminds thought they could vanish without consequences. They're all wrong. We will hold them accountable, every one of them.
Money vanish like abracadabra. Scandemic, EFCC go find them tire. Scandemic, but the leaders don't disappear.
Episode 28, Desperation and Defamation.
This one a big yawa. Them chop our money clean mouth. Where did the time and conscience go? Where the money go? Let's go.
The pressure on the Omegamax agents had reached unbearable levels. With their assets frozen, lawsuits piling up, and public opinion against them, Danny Onojaya, Tomiwa Oronibere, and Ufoman Wolisa convened in a private meeting to discuss their next move.
We're being backed into a corner. If we don't fight back, Banwo will destroy us completely.
We need to discredit him, turn the focus on him instead of us.
Danny leaned back in his chair, a frown creasing his face.
He's been untouchable so far. But if we can link him to Omegamax, even indirectly, we can muddy the waters.
There's that interview he gave during an event, talking about his investment. If we spin it the right way, it'll look like he was actively recruiting people.
And we can pay some journalists to amplify the story. Make him look like a hypocrite who's just using this task force to cover his tracks.
Let's do it.
The agents pooled their remaining funds to hire a team of public relations consultants and journalists. Within days, a headline appeared in several blogs and tabloids. Banwo, the crusader or co-conspirator. The articles pointed to the interview he had given months earlier, during an Omegamax event, where he praised the scheme for its life-changing potential, and mentioned how his own investment was yielding strong returns. It's clear from his own words that Banwo was actively promoting Omegamax, one article claimed. Is he truly seeking justice, or is he trying to distance himself from a failing scheme he once supported? On Twitter and Instagram, accounts linked to the agents shared snippets of the interview, captioned with accusations like, Banwo was part of it too. Why isn't he being held accountable? Don't be fooled by his lawsuits. He's just as guilty. Banwo read the articles and social media posts with a sinking feeling. He knew the interview they referenced. It had been taken completely out of context.
Yes, I spoke about my investment. I believed Omegamax was legitimate at the time, like so many others. But I never recruited anyone, and I personally lost over $250,000. These claims are a desperate attempt by those I'm pursuing to distract from their own actions.
While some investors rallied behind Banwo, others began to doubt him.
If he wasn't recruiting, why was he speaking at their events? He was a victim just like us. Don't let their lies divide us.
But the seeds of doubt had been planted, and the unity of the task force began to fracture. Despite the smear campaign, Banwo pressed forward with his lawsuits and petitions. In court, his lawyers presented evidence of the agents' involvement in Omegamax, from commission trails to recruitment videos.
We won't be intimidated by lies and defamation. The evidence speaks for itself.
The EFCC continued their investigations, summoning agents and freezing more assets. But as the agents stalled and delayed, the process dragged on, and frustrations mounted. As the legal cases advanced, Banwo's team relied on investors to provide documentation, proof of their investments, contracts, and communications with the agents. But when it came time to submit evidence, many investors failed to produce what was needed.
We need signed contracts, receipts, or at least written communications.
Where are your documents? You promised to bring everything.
I never kept records. I just trusted my upline.
I only have screenshots from WhatsApp. Is that enough?
Let's regroup and try to gather more evidence.
This is the bare minimum. You can't expect justice if you won't even back up your claims.
Weeks turned into months, and the cases stalled. The courts demanded more evidence.
What's the point? They don't care enough to fight for their own money. Why should I keep fighting for them?
At the next task force meeting, Banwo made a somber announcement.
I'm stepping down. I've done everything I can. But without your full cooperation, we can't move forward. This fight has taken everything from me.
The room fell silent, the weight of his words sinking in. But the fire had gone out of the room, The task force disbanded weeks later, leaving the investors to fend for themselves.
We can't let this end here. We owe it to ourselves to keep fighting.
Coming up next, The Gathering Storm. In the shadowy corners of Lagos, whispers of revenge began to circulate among a group of enraged investors. The collapse of Omegamax had ruined lives, and with no clear path to justice, some victims decided that retribution was their only option. Kunle Ogunjobi stood in a dimly lit bar, surrounded by a small group of fellow investors. The air was thick with anger and desperation.
They think they can walk away from this. We may not have lawyers or the EFCC on our side, but we have something better: numbers and determination.
If justice won't step in, we will. We see what's happening and will ensure accountability.
The group murmured in agreement, their plans forming in the smoky room. Unbeknownst to the investors, the police officers initially mobilized by barrister Banwo had not abandoned their mission. Armed with incomplete petitions and court orders, they intensified their search for Omegamax agents and investors involved in the case. Across Lagos and Abuja, police conducted random raids, hoping to seize documents, assets, and individuals for questioning. In Lagos, officers stormed a popular cafe where several mid-level agents were rumored to meet, detaining a handful of them for questioning. In Abuja, a group of investors was harassed outside a courthouse, accused of obstructing justice by failing to provide proper documentation. Kunle was nearly caught during a police raid on a hotel where his group often met. He escaped through the back door.
They're not just after the agents anymore. They'll turn on us next if we're not careful.
News of the investors' threats and police crackdowns spread quickly among the top agents. Danny Onojaja, Tommy Orunibere, and Ufoma Nwokobia held a secret meeting in a nondescript apartment in Ikeja.
All eyes are on us. Time to rethink our next steps.
Where do we go? We've already lost most of our assets.
Canada, I've been hearing stories. Many agents and even some investors are heading there. It's the best option for now.
The agents scrambled to arrange their escapes, each using different methods to avoid detection. Danny contacted a trusted associate in Cotonou, Benin Republic, who specialized in smuggling people across borders. Under the cover of darkness, Danny left Lagos by car, traveling through back roads to avoid checkpoints. At the Benin border, he switched vehicles and crossed into Togo, eventually making his way to Ghana. From there, he boarded a flight to Montreal using a fake passport. Tommy opted for a more daring approach. With the help of a contact in Lagos, he disguised himself as a woman, complete with a wig and makeup. Dressed as a glamorous traveler, he boarded a flight to Accra, where he secured a connecting flight to Toronto. Ufoma used her network of church connections to organize a mission trip to Canada. Claiming she was spreading the gospel, she secured a visa under the guise of religious work. Once in Canada, she disappeared into the Nigerian-Canadian community, leaving no trace of her whereabouts. Canada became a haven for many fleeing agents and investors. Its large Nigerian diaspora provided a convenient cover, allowing them to blend into established communities. In Toronto, Danny reconnected with other former agents who had arrived before him. They held discreet meetings to discuss how to rebuild their lives while avoiding detection. Some agents adopted new names, using forged documents to secure housing and jobs. Others started small ventures, from car rentals to restaurant franchises, funded by whatever money they had managed to smuggle out of Nigeria. Back in Nigeria, the disappearance of the top agents left the remaining mid-level agents and investors in disarray. Conley's group, now leaderless and demoralized, abandoned their plans for retribution. The police, frustrated by the lack of leads, shifted their focus to lower-level agents and investors. The raids continued sporadically, but without the top agents to target, the efforts became increasingly ineffective. Banwo, now resigned to the futility of his efforts, heard about the agents' exodus through whispers in the legal community. Sitting alone in his study, he reflected on the months of work that had led to this point.
They'll disappear, just like the masterminds, and the victims will be left with nothing but anger and regret.
Sweet returns not the way to go. From Dubai to Nigeria, them carry am come, but not pure format. My people, make una shine your eye, yo. This one a big yawa. Them chop our money clean mouth.
Michael Fabiai stood in the doorway of the small apartment he now shared with his wife, Remy. The room was cramped, a stark contrast to the home they had lost to foreclosure after investing their life savings in Omegamax. Remy sat at the small dining table, sorting through bills.
They've increased the rent. We might have to move again.
Michael nodded numbly, staring at the window that overlooked a gray parking lot.
I should have listened to you. I thought it was our chance to have something more.
Remy didn't respond, her silence heavier than any words she could have spoken. Pastor Matthew Oguntade sat on a park bench, his Bible open but unread. He no longer preached, no longer stood before a congregation that had once looked to him for guidance. The small church he had built with the funds from his community was gone, sold to pay back a fraction of what was lost. A former congregant approached him hesitantly.
Pastor Matthew, I just wanted to say, I forgive you.
Matthew looked up, his eyes hollow.
Forgive me? I can't even forgive myself.
My learned colleague,
In the midst of the despair, Barrister Olaolu Bamiwole refused to abandon the victims completely. Though he had given up on leading legal efforts, he turned his focus to something more tangible: empowerment. At a rented hall in Lagos, he gathered a group of investors for a workshop titled Digital Skills for Financial Recovery. The program promised to teach skills like freelancing, graphic design, and e-commerce, offering attendees a chance to rebuild their lives. Standing at the front of the room, Bamiwole addressed the crowd.
We may not get back what we lost, but that doesn't mean we stop fighting. I want to equip you with the tools to create new opportunity, to build something lasting for yourselves and your families.
Some participants responded with enthusiasm.
I never thought about freelancing before, but I've already gotten my first client after using the platform you recommended. Thank you, Barrister.
Others were skeptical.
What good is this going to do me? I just want my money back.
During a break, another attendee confronted Bamiwole.
You think digital skills can fix this? I lost everything, my business, my home. Teaching me how to make logos isn't going to change that.
Bamiwole met his gaze calmly.
It's not about fixing the past. It's about creating a future.
The man shook his head and walked out, muttering under his breath. Tayo Alibi lay in a hospital bed, his face pale and gaunt. The stress of losing his family's savings and facing constant harassment from investors had finally taken its toll. Doctors said he had suffered a mild stroke, brought on by hypertension and emotional strain. His wife, Ronki, sat by his side, holding his hand.
The kids ask about you every day. They don't understand what's happening, but they miss you.
Tayo turned his head away. tears streaming down his cheeks.
I failed them. I failed all of you.
Miriam Okoro's roommate found her in their small apartment, staring at a half-packed suitcase.
Miriam?
Zara asked, her voice trembling.
I can't go back to Nigeria. I can't face them. My parents, they sold everything for me to be here, and I wasted it all.
You didn't waste it.
Zara said gently.
You were scammed. That's not your fault.
Miriam shook her head.
It doesn't matter. I can't make it right.
The next morning, Zara found the note Miriam had left on the kitchen table, alongside her unopened suitcase. Deacon Cosimas Gagioke had been a pillar of his community, known for his generosity and business acumen. But the collapse of Omegamax had left him destitute, and creditors had seized his properties. One evening he drove to a quiet bridge on the outskirts of the city. He parked his car, leaving the engine running, and walked to the edge. His body was discovered the next morning, and his family's grief became a cautionary tale whispered across the city. Kunle sat in his small shop in Lagos, repairing mobile phones. It wasn't much, but it was honest work.
Back to square one.
He muttered as he soldered a circuit board. An old friend walked in, hesitant.
Kunle, I heard about what happened. I'm sorry.
Kunle forced a smile.
It's life, isn't it? You fall, you get back up. No use crying over it now.
But at night, when the shop was quiet, Kunle would sit alone, replaying every decision that had led him to this point, wondering if he could ever truly move on. Fola had been one of Bonavi's most loyal downlines in London, recruiting dozens of investors into Omegamax. Now, she worked 2 jobs, trying to pay back the people she had unintentionally misled.
It wasn't your fault.
Her daughter said one evening as Fola counted her tips from the cafe.
But it was.
Fola replied, her voice breaking.
I believed in it. I told people to trust me. And now, I can't even trust myself.
Years later, the stories of Omegamax's victims would still linger as cautionary tales in communities worldwide. The scam had promised hope, but delivered only despair, leaving a trail of ruined lives in its wake. Bamiwole's digital empowerment workshops, though helpful to a few, became a symbol of the difficult path to recovery. For those who embraced the lessons, it was a chance to start over. But for others, the pain of their losses overshadowed any attempt at moving on.
Them shop and run. See Daniel, see Lily, see Bonaventure. Them don't cash out, them buy mansion. Oh Lord, them chop commission. My people, make una shine your eye, yo. This one a big yawa. Them chop our money clean mouth.
Paul Nemesis sat at his cluttered desk, poring over a stack of documents. His investigation into Omegamax had dominated his life for months, and now a promising lead had landed in his lap. A source in Dubai had provided him with details of a private real estate transaction linked to Andreas Shakakas. The transaction, for a luxury villa on the outskirts of the city, had been conducted through a shell company tied to one of Andreas's known aliases.
This is it.
Moments later, his phone buzzed. It was a contact from Canada who had information about Mike Simpson.
Hello.
They say he's been spotted in Montreal, using another alias, but it's definitely him. He's living quietly, staying under the radar.
Paul's heart raced. 2 of the masterminds potentially located. This was the break he had been waiting for. The next morning, Paul presented his findings to the editorial team at the London Observer.
This is our chance to uncover the truth. I've tracked Andreas to Dubai and Mike to Montreal. If we move quickly, we can expose them and bring them to justice.
It's a compelling lead, Paul, but international investigations are expensive. What's the likelihood we'll recover actionable evidence?
It's hard to say until we're on the ground. But if we can confirm their locations, it could reignite interest and pressure authorities to act.
And how many investors have come forward with formal complaints or evidence?
Not enough. Most are too ashamed or disillusioned to take the next steps. Those who have come forward lack the kind of documentation authorities would require.
Without cooperation from the victims, it's a tough sell, Paul.
Paul left the meeting frustrated, but not deterred. He spent the next week trying to build a stronger case, reaching out to investors, local authorities, and even financial experts who had studied Omegamax. When Paul called a group of investors to encourage them to provide formal complaints and evidence, the responses were disheartening.
I've moved on. Even if they catch them, the money's gone.
I have WhatsApp messages, but nothing concrete. Would that even help?
I don't want to be in the spotlight. It's embarrassing enough as it is.
Paul's attempts to rally the victims were met with resistance, excuses, and indifference. In conversations with legal experts, Paul learned that without clear evidence linking the masterminds to specific transactions, it would be nearly impossible to prompt Interpol or local law enforcement to act.
Shell companies, offshore accounts, aliases. It's a tangled web. And unless the victims come forward with usable evidence, no agency will prioritize this case.
Paul's frustration grew as he realized he was fighting a battle that few seemed willing to join. Late one evening, he sat in his small apartment, surrounded by notes, leads, and unanswered questions. On his laptop, he replayed interviews with victims, some tearful, some angry, all of them longing for justice they no longer believed was possible.
This isn't just about the money, it's about accountability. They can't just get away with this.
But the weight of the obstacles, lack of funding, disorganized victims, and the complexity of the scam was crushing. Desperate, Paul reached out to a colleague at an international investigative journalism consortium.
I need help. I've got leads on one of the biggest Ponzi schemes of the decade, but I can't do this alone.
You know how this works. Without funding or victim cooperation, it's hard to justify resources for something this big. Keep digging, but don't burn yourself out.
Weeks turned into months, and the momentum Paul had hoped for never materialized. The leads he had uncovered began to go cold, and his enthusiasm waned under the weight of bureaucratic indifference and victim apathy. One evening, Paul sat in a dimly lit pub, nursing a pint of beer and staring blankly at his notebook. A friend joined him, sensing his defeat.
You've done more than anyone else to uncover this story. Sometimes, that's all you can do.
It's not enough. They're out there, living comfortably while thousands of people are suffering. And I can't do a damn thing about it.
Reluctantly, Paul began to step back from the investigation. He archived his files, boxed up his notes, and tried to focus on other stories. But the frustration of an unfinished mission haunted him.
Justice is often a long and winding road, paved with obstacles and indifference. While the masterminds of Omegamax remain at large, their victims carry scars that may never heal. This story is far from over, but for now, it rests in the shadows, waiting for the light of accountability.
Danny Onojaja sat in a modest two-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of Toronto, scrolling through social media on his phone. His feed was filled with news from Nigeria. Protests, political scandals, and every now and then whispers of the still lingering Omegamax debacle.
We've come a long way from G-Wagons and champagne, haven't we?
Better this than to be in jail.
In another part of the city, Ufoma Nwokobia had settled into a Nigerian-Canadian church, positioning herself as a community leader and philanthropist. She still spoke with her old charm and conviction, but beneath her pious demeanor was a quiet frustration. Her savings were dwindling, and she missed the power and luxury that Omegamax had afforded her. A month later, the three top agents, Danny, Tommy, and Ufoma, met in a rented conference room in downtown Toronto. It was their first time seeing each other since fleeing Nigeria.
Feels like old times.
Old times? We're barely scraping by. I didn't leave Nigeria to live like this.
That's why we're here. It's time we stop licking our wounds and start planning our comeback. We know how this works. People forget. Nigerians have short memories when it comes to Ponzi schemes. A couple of years from now, no one will even mention Omegamax. They'll be looking for the next big opportunity.
The group began discussing how previous scams had come and gone, leaving only a faint trail of outrage before the next big thing took center stage.
You remember MMM? It was massive. Millions of people lost money. A year later, people were already falling for new schemes like Loom Money and Twinkle.
Exactly. Nigerians are resilient but desperate. They're always looking for a way out of poverty, a shortcut to wealth. That's our opportunity.
Even after Omegamax collapsed, I heard some of my church members talking about other schemes. This one will be different, they'd say. It's like they can't help themselves.
The group turned their focus to the future, brainstorming ideas for a new scheme.
Instead of forex trading, we'll pitch something fresh like blockchain technology, decentralized finance, or even renewable energy investments. We'll leverage Canada to make the scheme appear more legitimate. With professional branding and foreign advisors, we would target high net worth individuals first, creating the illusion of a premium opportunity.
We should market it as a financial education platform. That's what everyone is doing now. Teach them how to make money, and they'll pay you for the privilege of being scammed.
We can use our old networks, the church, the diaspora, even influencers. People still trust me. If I pitch this right, they'll believe it's a blessing from God.
As the conversation progressed, the group confronted the morality of what they were planning.
We're just giving people what they want. They want dreams, promises, hope. If they choose to believe it, that's on them.
And let's not forget, we're rebuilding our lives too. It's survival.
We didn't invent greed, we're just using it. The key is to be smarter this time. Disappear before the cracks show.
By the end of the meeting, the group had agreed to begin laying the groundwork for their new scheme.
I will handle the branding and digital marketing, creating a polished, professional facade.
I will leverage my connections in the Nigerian-Canadian community to recruit early investors.
I will act as the strategist, ensuring the operation ran smoothly and avoiding the mistakes that led to Omegamax's downfall.
As they prepared to leave the conference room, the trio felt a renewed sense of purpose. For them, the collapse of Omegamax was not the end. It was a lesson.
Nigeria will always be ripe for this. We just have to wait for the right moment to strike.
They left the meeting with the seeds of the next great scam sown.
While the people, they cry frustration, scandemic.